Chapter 2291. Whooshed at the southwest region of the eternal world was originally a chaotic and desolate primitive area. Suddenly, a bright light shone and a passage appeared in the human world. The experts who lived in the western region thought that the gate to the immortal world had opened and rushed toward the nine heavens world. In an instant, at least a few hundred people rushed into the nine heavens world. Wu Chuan mobilized 300 immortal heavenly immortals and 300 immortal earth immortals from the Sikong family to enter the nine heavens world. They were not afraid that they could not catch Yi Qinghan. This group of powerful experts was enough to sweep through the nine heavens world. However, they kept a low profile and did not dare to offend the local natives. Yi Qinghan felt the passage in the eternal world as soon as it appeared. There was a sense of panic in his heart. It was not a way to live, but a way to die. Boom! That at this critical moment, Lin Wutian stepped into the undying spirit immortal realm. Although he wasn't as freakish as Yi Qinghan, he was much stronger than ordinary undying spirit immortals. However, he wasn't as strong as immortal earth immortals. Phew! Yi Qinghan breathed a sigh of relief. Since Lin Wutian had broken into the immortal realm, the chess saint, the heavenly master grand sage and the absolute holy emperor should be soon. As expected, a few days later, the three of them broke into the legendary realm almost on the same day. Immortal. Yi Qinghan felt less pressure. 4 immortal spirit immortals and the great saints of the insane sect. At least they had a chance to fight. The 9 saints of the insane sect, Emperor Yi, Lin Shukong, Shige, Yi Mingxi, Yi Chentian and Stan Wuxia had all entered the great saint realm. However, they were still far from immortal spirit immortals. Immortal Chen Xiang, please check where the passage leads and whether it is dangerous, Yi Qinghan whispered. Bailey Chen Xiang ordered the 100 flower spirits to head west. The 2 worlds were connected and were not far apart. She could check the situation in the nine heavens world. The entrance to the nine heavens world seemed normal. Many creatures rushed into the nine heavens world from the eternal world, and there was not even a guard. Whoosh! Bailey Chen Xiang's figure flickered. With the help of the 100 flower spirits, she quickly moved to the west. Yi Qinghan and the others were not in a hurry. Sikong Tanlang had not made a move yet. They were all holding back their impatience. The chess saint was the calmest. He was overseeing the sacred master mountain. When he saw everyone's anxious mood, he said calmly, "The war has not started yet. You should take the opportunity to cultivate. The more strength you have, the more chances you have of surviving." Yi Qinghan nodded. Everyone from the eccentric sect was rather restless at the moment, and they still lacked some stability. "Everyone, cultivate first. If Sikong Tanlang doesn't move, we won't move," Yi Qinghan said seriously. Everyone from the Kuang sect heaved a sigh of relief. Suppressing their impatience, they sat cross-legged and continued to cultivate. Time passed silently as the heavenly immortals from Extreme Peak Mountain led a high number of earthen immortals towards the passageway connecting nine heavens world and eternal world. Sikong Tanlang was waiting. He was waiting for the people from Extreme Peak Mountain to finish their preparations. Then he would force Yi Qinghan to leave eternal world, forcing him to go to nine heavens world when he had nowhere else to go. Yi Qinghan no longer dared to cultivate in seclusion. He was fully prepared for battle. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Perhaps sensing the approaching storm, Fan Yin appeared. She had returned as an undying spirit immortal. She and Yi Qinghan looked at each other. They were no longer as harmonious as before. Instead, there was coldness and sadness. There was no need for Yi Qinghan to say anything. Fan Yin also did not want to ask anything. She stayed on Sacred Master Mountain to prepare for battle. Just then, Bailey Chen Xiang returned with a panicked look on her face. "Sect Master Yi, that place is a great world that is much bigger than Eternal World. It is called Nine Heavens World. Some undying earth immortals and heavenly immortals have appeared there for no reason. Their numbers are unknown," Bailey Chen Xiang said. Yi Qinghan was silent for a long time. Then he said in a whisper, "Ignore those people. We cannot take that passageway. It is definitely a dead end. As long as we do not enter Nine Heavens World, those people will not be able to enter." Since that world is connected to eternal world, it is not up to us to choose not to leave, Chess Sage reminded him calmly. Yi Qinghan stared at Chess Sage and asked calmly, Chess Sage, what do you think? Chess Sage smiled and replied calmly, only you and the immortal peach tree sense the aura of death. Additionally, the aura of death on you is the thickest. This means that they are coming for you. The immortal peach tree is only implicated. They are even willing to open up the passageway. Clearly, they are determined to kill you. The will of the world has not moved. Do you not understand? They are arranging their troops and waiting for the best opportunity. Yi Qinghan was silent. He naturally knew that the other party was coming for him. Moreover, they were waiting for the right opportunity. But so what? Now, he could only be passive. When the time comes, it is not up to you to leave. There is only one path. You have to leave even if you don't want to, Chess Sage reminded him calmly. Phew, Yi Qinghan exhaled fiercely. He clenched his iron fist and said indifferently, Chess Sage, if you were in my position, what would you do? Chess Sage shook his head and said, I'm sorry. I have never been to the immortal world. I don't know how terrifying the ultimate peak mountain that you have offended is. I also don't know how powerful Sikong Tanlang is. I can't give a reasonable guess. Yi Qinghan frowned and thought for a moment. He said, my current cultivation level is equivalent to that of an immortal heaven immortal. The immortal world's cultivation levels are ranked as immortal spirit immortal, immortal earth immortal, immortal heaven immortal, immortal mystic immortal, immortal golden immortal, and immortal emperor. Sikong Tanlang is equivalent to the weakest immortal mystic immortal. Ultimate Peak Mountain has an immortal golden immortal. The difference between an immortal heaven immortal and an immortal mystic immortal is huge. The difference between an immortal golden immortal and an immortal mystic immortal is even bigger. With my current strength, it is impossible for me to fight against any force. Below the immortal heaven immortal, the difference was not huge. However, above the heaven immortal, a small level represented a difference between heaven and earth. It was unrivaled. Chess Sage stared at Yi Qinghan. His originally calm face suddenly revealed a trace of ridicule. He said mockingly, Yi, this old man knew that you were bold. However, I didn't expect you to be so bold. You knew that you were no match for him. Why did you offend him? Yi Qinghan slowly sat down and said in a low voice, I had no choice. If I didn't come back, my soul would have broken through to the immortal heaven immortal realm. However, my fleshly body would still be at the great sage realm. It would be impossible for me to step into the immortal golden immortal realm. Naturally, I wouldn't be able to kill Sikong Tanlang. I had to settle this grudge. So, I used the people of Ultimate Peak Mountain to disrupt Sikong Tanlang's deployment and took the opportunity to escape. We can only fight Sikong Tanlang once. As long as we can completely control the eternal world, he won't be able to let us leave. Ultimate Peak Mountain's deployment in the Nine Heaven world is useless. However, if we fail, you will have to enter the Nine Heavens world. When that happens, Sikong Tanlang will have paid a sufficient price. Do you think he will let the people of the Kuang sect live? Including the few of us, he will kill us all and force us into the Nine Heavens world. He will kill us all in one go. Chess Sage saw the ending. Once Sikong Tanlang took action, there was no turning back. There was no way out. If you don't want to implicate the Kuang sect, you'd better go to the Nine Heavens world alone, Chess Sage said calmly. Yi Qinghan looked at Chess Sage. He knew that Chess Sage was more inclined to leave alone to avoid implicating him. That was why he used the people of the Kuang sect to talk about things. However, Chess Sage understood him. His fatal weakness was the Kuang sect. If he did not want to implicate them, he could only do as Chess Sage said. Chapter 2292. Yi Qinghan was silent. He knew that the chess saint was taking advantage of his weakness, but what he said was the truth. If he could not fight back, there were only two paths. He could either die with the Kuang Zong or face it alone. There is no turning back. Yi, I have watched you grow and do not want you to have any regrets, so I am reminding you now. However, the decision is still in your hands, the chess saint said calmly. There was not much time left for Yi Qinghan to consider. Now, there were only two paths in front of him. He could either stand with the Kuangzong or face it alone. Yi Qinghan's big hand tugged at the corner of his immortal robe, thinking about which path was the most suitable for him. At this time, the divine bird ran out and whispered, "I am more inclined to choose to face it alone. After all, your combat power is far greater than the Kuangzong's. You can escape alone. As long as you escape into the immortal world, you will be free to fly. Ultimate Peak Mountain and Sikong Tanlang may not be able to catch you. If you escape, they will not waste a lot of time and effort to take revenge on the Kuangzong." The divine bird was very serious. In fact, it also had its own selfish motives. It felt that if Yi Qinghan went to the Nine Heavens Great World alone, he would still have a chance. Moreover, the little divine bird and the little money grubber would have a way out. It did not want to end its bloodline. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists. With a determined smile on his face, he waved his hand and pulled out the little money grubber from his sea of consciousness. He immediately severed the contract and delivered her to Renhuang Yi. "Kuangzong, listen up. This is my last order. You have to obey even if you don't want to. Otherwise, you are not part of the Kuangzong," Yi Qinghan said indifferently as he stood up and gathered the masters of the Kuangzong. The masters of the Kuangzong had never seen Yi Qinghan speak to them with such an attitude. They could not help but be stunned and looked at Yi Qinghan in silence. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan released all the living creatures in his wild martial great world, including the golden lightning dragon rock, the multicolored snake, and other sacred beasts. He undid all the contracts, but he did not let the divine bird go. Yi Qinghan looked at the people he had protected for so many years, smiled, and said in a hoarse voice, "I've treated you badly all these years. Ever since you've followed me, you've been fighting without rest. Our brothers and sisters of the wild sect have also lost a lot. I feel guilty, so I've decided that this battle has nothing to do with you. From today onwards, I'm leaving the wild sect. I will take responsibility for the crime of Ultimate Peak Mountain alone." "Master, we don't agree." For the first time, Lin Wutian disobeyed Yi Qinghan's order. He knelt down in front of Yi Qinghan. "Shut up. You have no right to speak here. From today onwards, I am no longer your master." Yi Qinghan's aura exploded as he berated angrily. Lin Wutian and the others looked at Yi Qinghan in bewilderment. They did not know why he suddenly gave such an order, and why he was so firm. The chess sage smiled and did not interfere with Yi Qinghan's decision. Everything was still going according to his plan. Gu Qingyu and the others wanted to change Yi Qinghan's will. Unfortunately, no one could change his will. "Everyone, don't make things difficult for me. Leave a seed for the Kuang sect. I will fight for a chance for you all to leave Eternal World. After leaving this world, don't come back. Go find the little princess of the Qingzun Immortal Empire, Xinyuan Qingyun. Tell her that she owes me a favor. In exchange for a piece of territory, you all can live peacefully. If you dare to disobey my orders, we will never meet again," Yi Qinghan said firmly. After saying that, Yi Qinghan did not say anything else. There was not enough time. He did not want to fight alone when Sikong Tanlang and the people of Ultimate Peak Mountain really took action. There was no turning back. He did not want to give Sikong Tanlang and the people of Ultimate Peak Mountain the chance to draw their bows. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and crazy weight appeared in his hand. His figure flashed and went straight to the west. Gu Qingyu and the others were about to rush over and fight to the death, but they were stopped by Yan Ao. "You'd better not act recklessly. We are only in the Great Sage Realm. If you join the battle, you will only hinder our boss and he will not be able to escape. Whoever dares to join the battle today will be my enemy." Yan Ao was Yan Ao after all. He was still very calm at this moment. Lin Wutian shouted frantically, "You are great sages, I am not. You cannot join the battle, but I must go." "Shut up. Calm down all of you. Stay here obediently. Don't be impulsive. Find a chance to leave the Eternal World." Yan Ao roared angrily. Emperor Yi, Jian Chenxue, and the others were still sisters-in-law after all. They did not want to see the Kuang sect fall apart. They walked to the front together and said to the people of the Kuang sect, "Everyone, calm down. He is much stronger than us. If he goes alone, he may have a chance to escape. If we go, we will only cause trouble for him and he will not have a chance to escape. If you really want to help him, calm down." The people of the Kuang sect hugged their heads in pain, but there was nothing they could do. Just as the chaos was about to break out, Fanning quietly disappeared. When Tong Tian wanted to find her, he found that she had disappeared. In the distant west, Yi Qinghan looked at the sky and smiled. "Sikong Tanlang, we will meet in the 9 heavens great world. You don't have to force me. I will go in myself." In the immortal world, outside Sikong City, Sikong Tanlang was stunned. He said to Xian Immortal Wuchuan and Xian Immortal 9 Heavens, "Yi Qinghan went to the 9 Heavens great world by himself. We don't have to send the Spirit Immortal army to my world." At this moment, there were a few more Xian Immortals outside Sikong City. An army of 3,000 Immortal Spirit Immortals were all armed with crossbows. It was not easy to let 3,000 Immortal Spirit Immortals into the Eternal World. The Eternal World was not the 9 Heavens great world. The space was not stable enough. They had to rely on other Xian Immortals to stabilize the Eternal World. The consumption was extremely terrifying. It might even cause damage to the Xian Immortal source. Sikong Tanlang was not willing to take the risk. "It's best if he comes in himself. I have no interest in making a big fuss." Xian Immortal Wuchuan said coldly. Xian Immortal 9 Heavens was stunned. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to not only be a lunatic, but also a lunatic who was not afraid of death. He would rather fight against a few hundred Immortal Earth Immortals and Immortal Heavenly Immortals than fight against an army of 3,000 Immortal Spirit Immortals. Why did he leave your world? With his Immortal Heavenly Immortal soul, if he wanted to escape, 3,000 Immortal Spirit Immortals might not be able to do anything to him. Xian Immortal 9 Heavens asked curiously. Sikong Tanlang did not dare to lie to Xian Immortal 9 Heavens. He could only tell the truth. He was afraid of implicating his sect, so he faced it alone. The more Xian Immortal 9 Heavens knew, the more he could not see through Yi Qinghan. Was there any other man like him? In the western part of the Eternal World, Yi Qinghan's immortal robes fluttered in the wind as he rushed towards the passageway. His aura was like a rainbow, like the blooming of fireworks, shocking the heavens and earth. Whoosh! Boom! Yi Qinghan activated the golden body of the Great Sage. His fleshly body was still at the Great Sage Great Circle. Every step he took was as if he was ascending the heavens. His eyes were looking at the passageway in the distance. Chapter 2293. The Holy Land of Western Europe was long gone. Civilization had been replaced. Many people were rushing towards the 9 Heavens great world, but everyone who entered was marked. Once Yi Qinghan was captured, they would still be sent back. Yi Qinghan appeared in the western extreme zone. The passage was 1,000 miles away. He could enter the 9 Heavens great world in a flash, but he did not go in immediately. Instead, he sat down. Yi Qinghan mobilized his soul. The terrifying golden body of Utmost Saint contained endless energy. At this moment, it was melting and merging with his soul. He wanted to give up his physical body and refine it into a part of his soul. In order to escape, he gambled on whether he could reach the immortal golden immortal realm in the future. This was a huge gamble. If he lost, this hatred would be meaningless. At least he would not be able to take revenge. He could only rely on Lin Wutian and Kuang sect. The golden body was burning, turning into wisps of energy to refine his soul. Yi Qinghan's soul was in the immortal spirit immortal realm. This state was comparable to an immortal heavenly immortal. Once his soul reached the immortal earth immortal realm, his soul's combat power would surpass more than 80% of immortal heavenly immortals. His immortal soul was growing stronger and more solid. It was even as strong as an immortal earth immortal body. Perhaps he could open up another path of cultivation and enter the immortal emperor realm in soul form. The powerful soul transformed into a physical body. The golden body of Utmost Saint was burning rapidly, turning into endless energy that was absorbed by the soul. Sikong Tanlang saw Yi Qinghan's actions clearly. He was completely shocked by his madness. This bastard is burning his own body to improve his soul. Once his soul reaches the immortal earth immortal realm, 80% of immortal heavenly immortals will not be his match. Once his soul reaches the immortal heavenly immortal realm, he may become a one-of-a-kind existence that can fight against an immortal Xian immortal. Sikong Tanlang shouted in horror. It was impossible for an immortal heavenly immortal to fight against an immortal Xian immortal. The gap was unimaginable. It was like a Xian immortal fighting a golden immortal. But Yi Qinghan had the chance. Xian immortal Wuchuan and Nine Heavens Xian immortal frowned at Sikong Tanlang. How did this person come into being? Why is his soul so abnormal? The Nine Heavens Xian immortal was shocked. She had lived for countless years, even older than immortal emperors, but she had never seen or even heard of such a soul. Sikong Tanlang's expression changed and sweat poured down like rain. He said with some fear, "This person devoured a sinful soul and then devoured the soul of a great sage in the great sage state. Moreover, his soul itself is quite terrifying." Xian immortal Wuchuan looked coldly at Sikong Tanlang and said coldly, "It must be you who added fuel to the fire. Otherwise, why would these evil souls form? How can he devour evil souls?" Sikong Tanlang wiped the sweat from his forehead, not knowing how to answer Wuchuan. Xian immortal of the Nine Heavens was silent for a while. He looked at Xian immortal of the Wuchuan immortal and asked in a low voice, "Can your people capture this Yi Qinghan? He's a madman. I think offending him will bring you a devastating disaster." Xian immortal Wuchuan groaned. If he admitted defeat now, the immortal golden immortal would kill him. How could the mighty ultimate peak mountain not be able to capture an undying spirit immortal? So what if he ascends to the immortal earth immortal level? Even if his soul is stronger than an immortal heaven immortal's, I can still suppress him. Xian immortal Wuchuan said firmly. Yi Qinghan's soul could have already broken through to the immortal earth immortal level, but he suppressed it. Now that he gave up his physical body and quickly stepped into the immortal earth immortal level, he completely stabilized his undying earth immortal level and was even rushing towards the mid-stage immortal earth immortal level. At this rate, after his entire physical body was devoured, his cultivation would stabilize at the mid-stage immortal earth immortal level. Yi Qinghan's soul shone with golden light and immortal light. The round golden soul transformed into a lifelike person that was no different from his physical body. The essence of his physical body had been devoured. A holy golden body had taken him hundreds of thousands of years of effort. It was a pity to give it up now, but he had no other choice. Boom! The bottleneck to the mid-stage immortal earth immortal level was blasted open by him with lightning speed. He completely stabilized himself at the mid-stage immortal earth immortal level. Finally, Yi Qinghan was no longer a spirit immortal rookie. His combat power had increased by dozens of times. Ordinary immortal heaven immortals were definitely no match for him, unless some powerful immortal heaven immortals relied on weapons and defensive immortal robes to fight him. Yi Qinghan put on the immortal robes. This immortal robe was given to him by Xinyuan Qingyun, and its grade was not bad. At the very least, it could defend against an immortal heaven immortal's peak attack. Immortal Xian immortals like Sikong Tanlang would not be able to break through the defenses of the immortal robes in a short time. Dressed in a celestial robe, Yi Qinghan had an extraordinary temperament and was surrounded by celestial qi. His face was expressionless as he stared at the entrance of the Nine Heavens big world. "Since you want to force me to go in, then let's go in." Yi Qinghan stepped into the passageway, which was about 3 miles long and 10 meters wide. Immortal qi filled the air. The Nine Heavens great world was of a much higher level than the eternal world. After all, it was the world of ancient Xian immortals. Its laws were much more mature than Sikong Tanlang's world. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed like lightning. He could even see that the experts of the Nine Heavens great world had already surrounded him. Boom! Yi Qinghan clenched his fist and stepped into the Nine Heavens great world. As soon as he entered the Nine Heavens great world, the Nine Heavens Xian immortal finally saw Yi Qinghan's elegance. He watched as his soul transformed into a fleshly body and rushed into his world with his mid-stage immortal earth immortal cultivation base. His imposing manner was unstoppable. The Xian immortal of the 9 heavens regretted getting involved in this matter. One could see many things from a person's eyes. The light in Yi Qinghan's eyes was very clear. He was definitely not an evil person. His determination and persistence were rare in the world. He was willing to give up on himself and his physical body for the sake of his sect. This was something that countless men could not do. Moreover, such an expert had walked out of a rotten world like Sikong Tanlong's. He must have gone through countless hardships and trials. Yi Qinghan, I am the master of the 9 heavens' great world. Whether you can escape from the encirclement of these people outside will determine your life and death. I will never intervene in your affairs. No Xian immortal will intervene. This is a little help I can give you. I hope it will be useful. The 9 heavens Xian immortal secretly transmitted his voice to Yi Qinghan through his world. Yi Qinghan's breath stagnated. He did not expect that the master of this world was not from the ultimate peak mountain. He could not help but feel relieved. Chapter 2294. Within the passageway, immortal light shone in all directions. The great Tao was stable, not much inferior to the immortal world. Ancient Xian immortals were indeed extraordinary. Among the Xian immortal worlds, their worlds were definitely the best and most perfect. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed as he heard the 9 heavens Xian immortal's voice transmission. He whispered, "Thank you." Yi Qinghan slowly stepped into the 9 heavens' great world, his immortal robes fluttering in the wind. At the entrance of the 9 heavens' great world, there were at least 300 immortal heaven immortals and 300 immortal earth immortals. They held high-grade immortal weapons, and the crossbows were also powerful immortal weapons used by the army. They could kill experts of the same level from a distance. Hundreds of crossbows were aimed at the entrance, waiting for Yi Qinghan to appear. This area was isolated, and no one dared to approach. The natives were all far away. Yi Qinghan was expressionless. This was not the first time he was outnumbered. Within the same level, he was confident that he was invincible. Absolutely invincible. Now that he was in the immortal earth immortal realm, his combat power was more than 80% of immortal heaven immortals. He could not kill all of them, or even defeat them. But if he wanted to escape, they could not stop him. Sigh, Yi Qinghan sighed softly. He knew that it wasn't the fault of the great peak mountain to deal with him this time. Therefore, he didn't want to kill them. He only wanted to defeat them and force them to retreat. The Immortal Gate's 5 elements golden bell shield shone with immortal light, protecting his powerful body. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan's figure shifted, and in an instant, he appeared inside the 9 heavens' great world. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, close to 1,000 crossbows were pulled into a full moon. The crossbow bolts broke through the void and hit the Immortal Gate's 5 elements golden bell shield. Boom! The golden bell shield shone with golden light and was wrapped in immortal qi. It was distorted by the immortal arrows. The arrows were unstoppable, almost piercing Yi Qinghan's defense, but he blocked them all. Yi Qinghan's figure shifted, trying to break through the defense of this group. But it was not that easy to break through the joint forces of 300 immortals and earth immortals. He failed several times. Yi Qinghan's hand tore apart the Xian immortal world violently. Even the space was distorted. He slashed 3 crossbow bolts that were shot at him. The bolts were forcefully shattered by him. Shoot! Dead or alive? Whoosh whoosh whoosh! This group of ultimate peak mountain experts attacked Yi Qinghan from afar, causing him to only be able to defend and unable to attack. Boom boom boom. Bang! Thud thud thud. Yi Qinghan constantly danced and formed 2 layers of defense, shattering the incoming crossbow bolts. Even if some managed to slip through, they were unable to shake the immortal sect's 5 elements golden bell shield. The physical body formed from his soul was vivid and lifelike. The precious body radiated immortal light in all directions, and his black hair danced about in the wind. Yi Qinghan attacked powerfully, leaving behind a footprint with each step. He was madly danced about in a circle, killing until the great Tao in all directions rumbled. I don't want to be enemies with Ultimate Peak Mountain. You'd better get out of the way. Yi Qinghan said coldly. The experts of Ultimate Peak Mountain were furious. They did not expect Yi Qinghan's strength to be so strong. It was even higher than the evaluation in the intelligence. How was he weaker than an immortal heaven immortal and stronger than an earth immortal? He was clearly weaker than an immortal Xian immortal and much stronger than an immortal heaven immortal. Kill! Whoosh! The immortal heaven immortal leader's aura was like a rainbow. He directly gave up on long-range attacks. His immortal sword pierced through mountains and rivers and fiercely slammed into Yi Qinghan. Boom! Hiss. Yi Qinghan held the violent sword with both hands. He retracted it, stepped back, and waved his saber. His veins bulged, and his energy shook the space with a shattering sound. The violent sword shook the immortal sword and directly sent the powerful immortal heaven immortal flying. The limit of strength. Yi Qinghan had never thought of retreating. Since he had come out, he might as well fight. The powerful immortal heaven immortal's palm cracked. Immortal blood stained his golden body. He retreated hundreds of steps, and his immortal origin was almost shattered. Yi Qinghan's foot stamped the ground and he swung his saber again to send the leader flying. Kill! Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Instantly, at least 100 immortal heaven immortals charged before Yi Qinghan. There were all 18 types of weapons. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4. No matter how strong Yi Qinghan may be, he was forced to retreat again and again. If it weren't for his monstrous defense, his soul would have been shattered long ago. Thud, Yi Qinghan retreated over 100 steps. If he retreated any further, he would return to Eternal World. Boom! Yi Qinghan stabbed his saber into the ground and clenched his iron fists. The 5-elemental golden bell shield erupted once more. Both his legs took root and he forcibly took on the attacks from the 100-plus experts. Yi Qinghan released a low roar. It was like the roar of a divine dragon. Next, a heavenly dragon swirled around the 5-elemental golden bell shield to form another line of defense. Yi Qinghan formed seals with his 10 fingers. He combined the sacred annihilation finger, the space-piercing star-plucking hand, the 5-elemental golden bell shield, and the 5-elemental shifting technique to form his strongest attack. Yi Qinghan's figure twisted. He used a finger to shatter the void, shattering a powerful immortal weapon. His momentum was not over yet. He transformed into the space-piercing star-plucking hand in midair. The palm cut through space and time. The sky-covering palm enveloped dozens of immortal heaven immortals. Boom! The dozens of immortal heaven immortals were suppressed. However, they joined forces to resist the palm. Immortal radiance shot out in all directions. A rainbow light soared into the sky. At this moment, outside Sikong City in the immortal world, the 9 heavens Xian immortals waved their hands and projected an image. The battle in the 9 heavens great world was clearly shown to the 3 Xian immortals. Sikong Tanlong's eyes widened. He watched Yi Qinghan combine 4 immortal techniques. Moreover, the power was many times stronger than his own. He couldn't help but mutter, he can combine 4 immortal techniques. He found the right method. This. Xian immortal Wu Chuan sucked in a breath of cold air. Yi Qinghan was definitely invincible in the same realm. Perhaps only those big shots in their younger days could contend with him. This meant that Yi Qinghan's future achievements would reach the immortal golden immortal level. Xian immortal 9 heavens didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be so crazy. Since ancient times, only immortal emperors in their younger days could do so. Yi Qinghan wasn't at the same realm. He was at a higher realm. He wasn't an immortal heaven immortal at all. He only had the soul of an immortal earth immortal. However, his combat strength exceeded that of an immortal heaven immortal. He doesn't want to kill people from Ultimate Peak Mountain. Look, he could have killed immortal heaven immortals a few times. However, he stopped in the end. Taoist Wu Chuan, do you have to kill this young man? What a pity. Xian immortal 9 heavens reminded him regretfully. Xian immortal Wu Chuan's eyes flashed. If he couldn't subdue such a person, Then he had to kill him. Wu Chuan clenched his fists and said respectfully, "Exalted immortals of the 9 heavens, would it be possible for you to forcibly take him out? This junior will personally take action." Xian Immortal 9 Heavens shook his head and said calmly, "I won't interfere. Helping you open the world is already my bottom line. I advise you to ask Taoist your immortal for his opinion." With a single finger, he destroyed the encirclement of the immortal Earth immortals. The immortal sect's 5 elements shifting technique was executed to its peak state. He turned into a shooting star in the sky with flames surging into the sky. Sikong Tanlang and Xian Immortal Wu Chuan were shocked. Once Yi Qinghan entered the hinterland of the Great World, they would not be able to capture him. Otherwise, the 9 heavens Great World would suffer heavy losses. Exalted Immortal of the 9th Heaven, please capture him. He can help me perfect my world. Sikong Tanlang cried out anxiously. If it wasn't for the fact that the Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens had an esteemed status, he would have used force. Xian Immortal Wu Chuan was also anxious. He looked at the Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens expectantly. Only the Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens could help him now. However, the Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens was unwilling to participate in this matter. It was indeed easy for her to capture Yi Qinghan now, but that would be interfering with the order of the lower realm. This was something that the immortal world would not allow. Therefore, she firmly shook her head and refused. "Sorry, this time it was your own fault. I already told you that I was only responsible for opening up the world. It would be best if you could capture him. If not, I will not interfere anymore. If the extreme peak mountain insists on taking him, then let Yang Zhixian come find me." The Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens said coldly. Plop. Sikong Tanlang knelt down and begged, "Exalted Immortal, please help me this once. Perfecting a Xian Immortal world is a great merit. Please hand Yi Qinghan to me." The Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens sighed and said helplessly, "The opportunity was right in front of you. Unfortunately, you missed it. You are his father after all. If you had treated him well, would this have happened?" Sikong Tanlang was about to go crazy. Unfortunately, he could not defeat the Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens. This ancient Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens was not much weaker than the immortal Golden Immortal. The key was that she knew a lot. The immortal Golden Immortal would not provoke her. Even Qing Zun Immortal Emperor had to treat her with respect. Wu Chuan's face was filled with unwillingness, but he didn't dare to offend an ancient Xian Immortal, let alone a female Xian Immortal. If she called for help, many immortal Golden Immortals would be willing to help. Even End Peak Mountain didn't dare to offend her. This junior will take his leave first. However, senior, please leave Yi Qinghan in the 9 heavens Great World. After this junior reports to Zhixian, he will come to see you personally." Wu Chuan said in a low voice. There was a hint of threat in his words. The 9 heavens Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens looked to be in her 40s. However, she was still charming. Her extraordinary temperament was enough to move the hearts of Golden Immortals. How could she be frightened by a mere Xian Immortal? The 9 heavens Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens gently waved her sleeves and said lightly, "I never need anyone to teach me how to do things. This Yi Qinghan, I will let him go if I want to. Not to mention you, even if Yang Zhixian came personally, he would not dare to threaten me." Whoosh. Whoosh. The 9 heavens Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens left the outskirts of Sikong City, leaving behind the resentful Sikong Tanlang and the angry Xian Immortal of the 9 heavens Great World. Kakaka. Sikong Tanlang gritted his teeth and growled inwardly, "Yi Qinghan, you can't escape from me. Even if you can, the people of the insane sect won't be able to escape. I will make you kneel before me and give me the method to fuse the 4 great celestial techniques." At this moment, Yi Qinghan escaped into the 9 heavens Great World and went straight into a big city. He specifically looked for a place with a lot of people. He was afraid that the bandits of the Endless Peak Mountain would come after him. He was even more afraid that the Wuchuan Immortal would come personally. However, half a day later, the Milky Way was distorted and space-time was torn apart. A jade-like hand that seemed gentle but contained an inviolable will reached out from the void and grabbed him. Yi Qinghan's expression changed greatly. However, he could not resist even if he wanted to. The other party was too strong. This was a real Xian immortal. An ancient Xian immortal was not someone Sikong Tanlang could compare to. The space-time changed and Yi Qinghan was pulled out of the Nine Heavens great world and appeared in the immortal world. A perfect woman appeared in front of him. Her appearance was too perfect. Her temperament was like a mother, a phoenix descending to the world. He could not have any evil thoughts about her. Yi Qinghan greets the great immortal. Thank you for your reminder. Yi Qinghan was filled with respect from the bottom of his heart. He knelt before the Xian immortal on one knee and cupped his fists. He did not even dare to look at the Xian immortal. No need to thank me. I shouldn't have interfered between you two. The Xian immortal sat outside the bamboo house and sipped his tea. His voice was like the sound of nature. He waved his hand and a stool appeared. Sit down. Yi Qinghan slowly got up and respectfully stood to the side. He cupped his fists and bowed. Junior will stand. The Xian immortal looked at Yi Qinghan with satisfaction and curiosity. Why would someone like Yi Qinghan go berserk and massacre the people of the Endless Peak Mountain? Tell me, how did your feud with Sikong Tanlang and the Endless Peak Mountain come about? I'll consider handing you over to Yang Zhixian. The Xian immortal said flatly. Chapter 2296. Hearing Yi Qinghan's explanation, the Nine Heaven Xian immortal gradually understood that Yi Qinghan had no other choice. As for the reason why Yi Qinghan chose to offend the ultimate peak mountain, it was indeed laughable. You underestimate the ultimate peak mountain. The Nine Heaven Xian immortal warned. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. If he was given another chance, he would still offend the ultimate peak mountain. If the ultimate peak mountain is angry, the Qingzun immortal kingdom will not offend those big shots for you. The little princess you saved will not be able to save you. The Nine Heaven Xian immortal looked at Yi Qinghan with admiration in his eyes, but more than that he felt pity. Such a monster was captured by the ultimate peak mountain. The consequences were imaginable. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly and said respectfully, "Thank you for the reminder, senior. However, the undying immortal realm is vast and boundless. The ultimate peak mountain might not be able to extend their reach. I can escape to other immortal kingdoms." The Nine Heavens Xian immortal shook his head and replied, "I told you, you underestimated the Endless Peak Mountain. Their hands are very long. But since you appeared in front of me, it's fate. I'll help you this time." Hua! The Nine Heaven Xian immortal waved his hand and a simple half-jade pendant appeared in his hand. It was unknown how long this jade pendant had existed. Because it was only half a jade pendant, no one knew what kind of sculpture it was. However, one could tell that the complete jade pendant had an extraordinary origin. Take this jade pendant to the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. Go to the Ancient Emperor Academy and find the Dean of the Ancient Heavenly Emperor. Perhaps he will take you in. The Nine Heaven Xian immortal slowly placed the jade pendant on the table and said calmly, "The Ancient Heavenly Emperor." Yi Qinghan had never heard of this name. However, in the undying immortal realm, there were countless experts living in seclusion. This ancient heavenly emperor's position in the Nine Heaven Xian immortal's heart was comparable to an immortal kingdom. His strength must be terrifying. Yi Qinghan's fingers trembled slightly. He respectfully reached out with both hands and took the jade pendant. He did not know how to thank the Nine Heaven Xian immortal. Junior owes you 2 lives. In the future, even if the immortal realm is dyed in blood, I will repay you. Yi Qinghan said resolutely. The Nine Heavens Xian immortal smiled indifferently. However, there was a hint of helplessness in his eyes. Maybe even immortal emperors wouldn't reject such a woman. Go, maybe you won't be able to leave after a while. Your potential is limitless. Since Yang Zhixian gave the order to capture you, he won't let you leave. He will personally come and find me. Nine Heaven Xian immortal waved his hand. Yi Qinghan's pupils shrank and he quickly said, "Since senior knows, why don't you come with me?" The Nine Heaven Xian immortal smiled indifferently. "Don't worry. Even if this is the ultimate peak mountain, Yang Zhixian won't dare to do anything to me. I'm tired and don't want to walk anymore. I'll just retire here and spend the rest of my life here. It's great. Whoosh! The nine-heaven Xian immortal waved his hand and sent Yi Qinghan away. Space and time changed, and in the blink of an eye, they were countless miles away from this place. Yi Qinghan's body flipped in the different space, and he couldn't control it at all. Only now did he understand how terrifying a true Xian immortal was. If the immortal golden immortal personally came, how terrifying would that be? Whoosh! Yi Qinghan used this force to rush into the distance. After 2 hours, the nine-heaven Xian immortal's force dissipated into nothingness. Although it was only 2 hours, Yi Qinghan had already appeared 300,000 miles away. This was the immortal realm, and 300,000 miles was enough for him to travel for several days. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan's body landed outside an ancient tribe. He raised his head and looked around. The hills were undulating, and the mountains were continuous. The green hills and clear waters were swirling around, and the docile immortal beasts and birds were startled and fled in all directions. Screeched out, roared at several birds and beasts glided past Yi Qinghan, and he quickly dodged in shock. Oh no, this place should be very far from the Qingzun immortal kingdom. I was thinking of asking Shenyuan Qingyun to help me bring the people from the immortal realm Yi Qinghan muttered to himself. However, this place was very unfamiliar to him, and he didn't even know where to go next. Yi Qinghan had no choice but to walk step by step toward the tribe, hoping to find a way. On the way, he was bored and pulled out the divine bird, but the divine bird was no longer willing to pay attention to him. Before Yi Qinghan went to the Nine Heavens Great World, he had cancelled the contracts with all the sacred beasts, including the 5 elements sacred beasts, except for the divine bird. Clearly, he wanted to drag it along with him. How could the divine bird be happy? Sai, we grew up together. I don't feel at ease leaving you in anyone's hands. You don't even understand my painstaking efforts. Yi Qinghan pretended to be serious and sighed. The divine bird said disdainfully, Bah! You just can't bear to see me live alone. I've never seen someone as despicable as you. Even if you die, you want to drag me down with you. Aren't I still alive? Besides, I'm confident that I can survive. That's why I brought you along. Yi Qinghan said confidently. The divine bird gnashed its teeth in hatred. It pointed at Yi Qinghan and scolded, Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? Do you have the confidence that I don't know? This time, you entered the Nine Heavens Great World with the determination to die. Don't think I don't know. Otherwise, why would you leave the multicolored snake and the others in the eternal world? You clearly want to drag me down with you. Yi Qinghan smiled. In fact, he really didn't have much hope this time. However, he always felt that bringing the divine bird with him might give him a chance of survival. Even if he really died, with the divine bird accompanying him, he wouldn't be lonely. Therefore, he still had some selfish motives. The divine bird naturally knew Yi Qinghan's thoughts. That was why it was flustered and exasperated. It wouldn't really follow Mister's orders for its master. As the saying goes, a bad life is better than a good death. What do you think our next step should be? Yi Qinghan said with a flattering smile. Get lost. I don't know. The divine bird scolded angrily. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and didn't argue with it. He shrugged and said, You can be angry first. Anyway, you can forget about escaping from my grasp for the rest of your life. Even if you die, you have to die with me. You're crazy. The divine bird cursed. Yi Qinghan had nothing to lose. He smiled and said, It's not like you just found out. So let's live well. Maybe one day, I can cultivate to the immortal emperor realm. At that time, I'll give you a great world and let you rule it. Don't tempt me. I won't be fooled again. You can care about anyone's life, including the multicolored snake and the others, but you don't care about mine. The divine bird was really angry. It felt that Yi Qinghan was too unfair. Yi Qinghan could see that the divine bird was really angry. He couldn't help but feel helpless. In his heart, the divine bird had a very special place. He didn't know how to describe it. In any case, he felt that if they were going to live, they would live together. If they were going to die, they would die together. Moreover, in times of danger, his subconscious reaction was to ask the divine bird. That kind of trust was unmatched by anyone, not even Emperor Yi. Yi Qinghan found a rock and sat down. He held the divine bird in his palm and said seriously, "If I have to abandon someone, I can abandon anyone but you. But if I die, you have to die with me. You have no choice because I feel that as long as you're by my side, I'm not afraid of anything. Therefore, I can't evaluate your position in my heart. You should know best how high this position is." The divine bird rolled its eyes. It didn't know whether to be happy or sad about Yi Qinghan's words. Chapter 2297. Outside the tribe, there were green mountains and clear waters. Yi Qinghan led the divine bird towards the tribe slowly, but the divine bird was still unhappy. A few burly men arrived outside the village. They all carried huge bows on their backs and had large scars on their bodies. They must have been hunters who often traveled in dangerous areas. 1 immortal earth immortal, 3 immortal spirit immortals, and 4 great sages. This should be the main force of this tribe. Yi Qinghan rushed to the group of aboriginals and cupped his fists. "Fellow Taoists, may I know how to get to the Ancient Emperor Academy of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom?" The group of aboriginals saw that Yi Qinghan was dressed in white and looked like a decent person. They did not feel much revulsion. The leader, an immortal earth immortal, cupped his fists and replied, "This is the border of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. If you head west, you will reach the hinterland of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. As for the Ancient Emperor Academy, I do not know its exact location. You can ask around in the big cities." "Big cities? You do not know how to get there? How far is it?" Yi Qinghan hurriedly asked. The immortal earth immortal scratched his head, unsure of how to answer. After all, the immortal realm was too big. The distance between cities was unimaginable. The roads intersected, and taking a wrong path could lead to a completely different destination. If you are going to the hinterland of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom, you can wait here for a few days. Every year at this time, a few tribes will unite to send their resources and goods to the big cities to be sold. You can pay some money to follow them. At least it will be safer. The immortal earth immortal kindly reminded. Yi Qinghan was not in a hurry. Traveling alone would not be as good as sneaking into a large caravan. At least he would be able to fool others. "My surname is Yi. You can call me Yi. How should I address you? Can we travel together?" Yi Qinghan cupped his fists and asked. This group of hunters was very kind and honest. They did not have any ulterior motives. After introducing themselves, they quickly became familiar with Yi Qinghan. The leader was called by Zishan. The 3 immortal spirit immortals were his nephews. The burly man in linen was called by Yi. The slightly weaker middle-aged man was called by Chen. The stout man was called by Fei. As for the great sages, they were all young and did not have the right to speak. "Brother Yi, you are in spirit form. How did you cultivate to the immortal earth immortal realm? Don't you understand?" Bai Zishan asked curiously. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly and said, "I had no choice but to come to this point. You look quite young, so your talent should be quite good. What a pity." Bai Zishan sighed. Yi Qinghan laughed. He understood what Bai Zishan meant. In his current state, many people would think that he could cultivate to the immortal heavenly immortal realm at most. It would be impossible for him to reach the immortal Xian immortal realm, let alone the immortal golden immortal realm. Along the way, they chatted a lot. Yi Qinghan roughly understood the situation in the surrounding area. The largest city from here was called Vast Cloud City. It was the territory of a Xian immortal called Vast Cloud City. The entire Vast Cloud City was at the border. Beyond Vast Cloud City was the hinterland of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. An immortal kingdom had about 8 to 9 golden immortal abodes. Each golden immortal abode had about 1,000 Xian immortal cities. This was what Bai Zishan had heard from others. However, this was what he bragged about in the tribe. Many people in the tribe had never stepped out of the tribe in their lives. Yi Qinghan had a rough understanding of the immortal realm. Even if Bai Zishan was wrong, it would not be too far off. From this tribe to Vast Cloud City, the caravan would take 20 years. To these immortal realm immortals, 20 years was equivalent to 20 hours for mortals. However, they would not do such time-wasting things often. On average, 3 to 5 tribes would work together to transport the resources they had obtained over the years to vast Cloud City to be sold. Then they would buy some necessities back to the tribe. A tribe was equivalent to a large village. There were about 100,000 people, young and old. They lived and bred here. Women would not flow out. Even if there were, it would be a marriage swap between tribes. Our by-family village has been here for hundreds of thousands of years. We are considered a large tribe. We have 3 immortal heavenly immortal clan elders and more than 20 immortal earth immortals. They are also the main hunters of the tribe. 8 of them are past their prime and are resting at home. It is us, the strong earth immortals, who lead the young ones to hunt and harvest resources. When we can no longer fight, a new batch of youngsters will come forward to lead the tribe. This kind of life is actually pretty good. It is peaceful and quiet. Bai Zishan led the group up the mountains and over the ridges. As they walked, he told Yi Qinghan about the situation. Yi Qinghan listened quietly. Some things might not be important, but some could save lives at critical times. Actually, our tribe is not very safe. Sometimes we will attract some powerful bandits. There may also be a beast tide. If we attract a powerful group of bandits, it is still fine. We usually pay them some money and they will not kill us. The most terrifying thing is the beast tide. They do not care about money or lives. They only care about killing. So, every year, our necessities are some immortal weapons, high-grade bows, immortal medicines and tonics for cultivation. These are all consumables and are consumed very quickly, Bai Zishan said calmly. Yi Qinghan listened quietly. He could also sense that the people in this tribe did not have it easy. In such a large tribe, after hundreds of thousands of years of reproduction, only 3 immortal heavenly immortals came out. It seemed that the mortality rate of hunting was still very high. As they chatted along the way, time passed very quickly. They appeared in an ancient forest. The deep forest was filled with spiritual energy, but it was even more oppressive and dangerous. Some swamps could take the lives of great sages and immortal heavenly immortals at any time. If they encountered a super powerful beast, even an immortal earth immortal might not be able to survive. There are still 18 days before we enter the city. This time, let's hunt more and get more resources. If we can sell them for a good price, we will have an easier time in the next 100 years, Bai Zishan said to the group behind him. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows as he looked at the deep ancient forest. He could sense that this place was very dangerous. However, there were many immortal medicines here. Most of them were at the spirit immortal level. They could not be sold for a good price, but to these hunters, they were precious resources that could sustain their lives. The divine bird lay weakly on Yi Qinghan's body. Even the immortal herbs did not pique its interest. Yi Qinghan shrugged and comforted it. Don't be angry. When we take root in the ancient Emperor Academy, I will be responsible for helping you reach the immortal earth immortal level. How about it? The divine bird was finally energized. It raised its eyelids and asked, Really? Really? If I lie, I will not be able to get up from now on. Yi Qinghan vowed solemnly. When the divine bird heard this, it immediately stood up. It was full of energy and no longer looked as dispirited as before. Let's go, boss. I will bring you to find treasures. After all, it will take a lot of money and resources for me to reach the immortal earth immortal level. How can I let boss pay for it all? The divine bird said seriously. Chapter 2298. The divine bird was a mercenary. When there were benefits, it would be excited. When there were no benefits, it would become a dead bird. Yi Qinghan shrugged. The divine bird's actions were within his expectations. It seemed like this was not the first time the 8 hunters had ventured into this ancient forest. Because they knew, they were exceptionally careful and took every step carefully. There are many ferocious primordial creatures here. Although they are not particularly strong, they can easily kill off ageless spirit immortals. Many of the wild beasts can instantly kill off ageless earthen immortals. Thus, we rarely come here to search for treasures. Only when we are about to reach Cloudbright City and we do not have enough resources to last for 100 years will we come here to take a risk and obtain more resources. Every time, we will sacrifice a few. Hopefully, we will be lucky this time, Bai Zishan said solemnly. Yi Qinghan nodded indifferently. He had to accept this favor. However, the ferocious creatures outside could not threaten his life. They could not even break through his defenses. Stepping on a thick layer of dead leaves, they made a sinister sound. These dead leaves had been piled up for countless years. The dead leaves in the depths had already rotted, and the rotting smell was very strong. However, the spirit qi and the rotting smell clashed. The smell of the air 1 meter above the ground and below the ground formed a sharp contrast. The divine bird's eyes darted around. This time, it was looking for immortal treasures for itself. How could it not work hard? Yi Qinghan was not prepared to compete with Bai Zishan and the others for resources. He was only looking for more valuable and scarce resources. After passing through the dark forest, they entered a canyon. There was almost no life here. Only some vicious and poisonous creatures were entrenched here. Their poison could even kill immortal spirit immortals. These barren mountains basically have mineral veins. However, the terrain here is very dangerous. Small tribes like us do not dare to mine, Bai Zishan explained. Those who often mined knew that if the mountains were barren, there would definitely be a large number of mineral veins inside. Yi Qinghan also knew a little. Although he did not know what resources were buried here, he was not interested. At this time, no matter how good the resources were, he did not have the time or energy to mine them. The group passed through the barren mountains and entered the depths of a forest. Many ferocious beasts were eyeing them. The 8 hunters' eyes were like torches. They were on guard in all directions. The strong bows in their hands were ready to shoot. Roared just as the 9 of them regained their footing, at least a dozen wind giant wolves charged at them with wind blades. They were as fast as lightning, and even Yi Qinghan could only blink before these wind giant wolves appeared in front of them. Boom! Yi Qinghan subconsciously used shattering mountains and rivers with his finger and hit the head of a giant wolf. The giant wolf was sent flying dozens of meters away and its huge body was crushed into minced meat. Bang! Boom! Yi Qinghan was even faster. He killed a wind giant wolf with a single finger, then clenched his fist and punched another one. Whoosh whoosh whoosh! Before the others could react, Yi Qinghan's figure flashed. He kicked the wolf's head and punched the wolf's body. Every punch and kick broke the wolf's bones. Howled in the blink of an eye, he had killed 6 of the dozen wolves that had pounced on him. Roar! Yi Qinghan's aura surged as he roared, scram. The powerful aura mixed with the dragon's aura scared the wolves so much that they screamed and ran away, leaving behind the 8 dumbfounded hunters. They were trembling all over, especially the few great saints. Their combat power was too weak, and they were far inferior to the older experts of the Kuang sect. Bai Zishan's face was pale, and cold sweat fell like rain. He muttered hoarsely, "Why are there wind giant wolves here? Aren't they only found in the depths of the forest?" Thud! The 4 great saint hunters were so scared that they knelt on the ground, unable to summon any strength. The 3 immortal spirit immortals looked at Yi Qinghan in horror. This was not the combat power of an immortal earth immortal. Even the 3 clan elders of the Bai family village did not have such terrifying combat power. "Thank you for your help, Immortal Yi." Bai Chen and the other immortal spirit immortals swallowed their saliva and said in a trembling voice. Yi Qinghan shook his head and said calmly, "Everyone, cheer up. The creatures here are indeed stronger than I thought. These things are only in the immortal spirit immortal realm, but they can kill immortal earth immortals. Even I was almost bitten." Only then did Bai Zishan react. He bowed gratefully and said, "Thank you for your help, Brother Yi. Otherwise, we would have been wiped out this time." It's fine. Don't take it to heart. We're just helping each other." Yi Qinghan waved his hand and helped Bai Zishan up. He frowned and looked into the depths of the ancient forest. He asked curiously, "These wind giant wolves are so fast. Logically speaking, they shouldn't appear in these peripheral areas. Why did they suddenly appear?" Bai Zishan was also puzzled. he whispered. Brother Yi, these wind giant wolves are native creatures of the celestial Wolf Mountain range. They are about a city away from here. I don't know how they appeared here. Yi Qinghan rubbed his nose and looked into the depths. He didn't feel any special danger. He said, it should be a migration of creatures caused by the climate change. It's not a big deal. Let's continue. I also want to find some immortal treasures. Since you are familiar with this place, let's work together. The 8 hunters were naturally delighted. Yi Qinghan was so strong. With him around, this mission wouldn't be too dangerous. Yi Qinghan took the lead. He broke a tree branch in his hand and spun it in his hand. His eyes were like lightning as he scanned the surroundings. His divine perception covered about 10,000 meters. He didn't find any danger, but he found many ordinary resources. He said, there is no danger within 10,000 meters. Everyone, split up and search for resources. However, don't be too far away from me. The 8 hunters trusted Yi Qinghan very much. They quickly rushed into the distance. They were very familiar with the areas where immortal treasures grew. They were good at searching for resources. Soon, they had gathered many resources. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and broke a dozen tree branches. He wiped away the joints and forged them into spears. A ferocious beast rushed over and was about to pounce on Bai Chen. He was so frightened that his legs trembled and he hurriedly retreated. Yi Qinghan threw a tree branch that looked like a spear. It contained fierce immortal spiritual energy. It directly pierced through the ferocious beast's head and nailed it to the mountain rock. Continue. Don't worry. Yi Qinghan walked quickly in the forest and said to the divine bird, quickly find some immortal treasures that you need. The creatures here are more terrifying than I thought. We can't stay here for long. The divine bird wasn't afraid of danger. From its point of view, Yi Qinghan was by its side. If he didn't die, it would never allow itself to die. No humans appeared in this large ancient forest all year round. There were many immortal herbs and resources. The divine bird specially picked some precious and rare materials. The more it didn't recognize them, the more it wanted to pick them. Yi Qinghan's divine perception spread further and further. It rushed from 10,000 meters to 30,000 meters. When he saw powerful creatures, he immediately shot them down to provide a relatively safe area for the divine bird and the 8 hunters. The 8 hunters' goal wasn't just immortal treasures and resources. The flesh and immortal cores of the ferocious beasts that they killed were more valuable, especially the immortal cores. They contained vast amounts of energy. A spirit immortal core could be sold for more than 10 celestial coins. An immortal earth immortal core could be sold for thousands of celestial coins. As for an immortal heaven immortal core, it was worth more than 10,000 celestial coins. It was priceless. Chapter 2299. The 8 hunters followed behind Yi Qinghan, eating and drinking well. In just half a day, they had collected tens of thousands of celestial coins, which was equivalent to half a year's income for the entire tribe. The deeper they went, the more valuable the resources were. They were afraid of the danger, but also looked forward to going deeper. Yi Qinghan would not stop until he got the resources he wanted. Besides, he had his own judgment. When he could no longer protect the divine bird, he would naturally stop going deeper. Dozens of thin branches were broken, and he grabbed them in his hand. His eyes scanned the surroundings like lightning. Soon, some immortal level monsters appeared in the forest. Many of them lived in groups. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. After all, they were tens of thousands of meters away from each other. He could not guarantee everyone's safety. Shorten the distance. Don't be more than 5,000 meters away from me. Unless you find some extremely valuable resources, don't leave without permission, Yi Qinghan reminded them in a low voice. Bai Zishan and the others swallowed their saliva. They coveted the resources in the periphery. They were right in front of them, but they did not dare to pick them. The divine bird sped through the mountains. Those cliffs, blind corners, and narrow crevices were all its targets. Those places were rich in rare resources. Most importantly, they were old enough. Each stalk was worth thousands or even tens of thousands of celestial coins. What it had harvested in half a day was dozens of times more than what Bai Zishan and the others had. It was a professional treasure hunter. It had never disappointed Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan kept putting immortal treasures and spirit herbs into the immortal ring. The divine bird did not have an immortal ring, so it had no choice but to hand them over to Yi Qinghan. However, it had marked every stalk of immortal herb. If you don't give me the resources this time, I will never forgive you or trust you again, the divine bird threatened. Yi Qinghan snorted and said disdainfully, I'm not that despicable. I'll definitely do what I promised you this time. The divine bird exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. It was about to continue searching for treasures when suddenly, the beasts in the depths ran wildly. The earth shook and the mountains shook. A majestic airflow rolled in from the left. Beast tide. Yi Qinghan scanned the area with a cold glint in his eyes. Even though the airflow was still very weak, his divine sense was extremely powerful. He quickly realized that something was amiss and hurriedly said to the others, return to the group and retreat. Whoosh! Bai Zishan and the other hunters quickly gathered towards Yi Qinghan and retreated. Sure enough, not long after, a large number of vicious beasts appeared in front of Yi Qinghan and the others. The vicious beasts flew through the air, and very shrill screams alerted Yi Qinghan. This group of vicious beasts only gathered because they were being hunted down. Let's retreat again. Yi Qinghan squinted his eyes and whispered. It was a man-made beast tide. It seemed like the people who were chasing after these ferocious beasts were very strong, and there were a lot of them. Whoosh! A white light flashed and rushed towards the center of the beast tide from behind. Because it was too fast, Yi Qinghan only saw a creature that looked very much like a snow fox. Its fur was as white as snow, and its speed was comparable to a mid-level immortal heaven immortal. The aura on its body also had the aura of an immortal heaven immortal. It should be a shape-shifting immortal beast. This white fox is... Yi Qinghan was shocked. An immortal white fox at the level of an immortal heaven immortal was actually being hunted down. It seemed like the people chasing after it were also immortal heaven immortals, and there were more than 2 or 3 of them. You there! Stop that white fox for me! An angry roar that shook the galaxy came from the left. The chi wave was clearly aimed at Yi Qinghan and Bai Zishan. Bai Zishan was shocked. Asking him to stop an immortal heaven immortal beast? Wouldn't that be suicide? Subconsciously, he still did not move. Yi Qinghan would not bother with an immortal heaven immortal. At this level, even if there were 30 or 40 of them, he would not care, let alone 1 or 2. Even if he could not kill them, he could still escape. Whoosh! A celestial immortal figure leaped into the air and roared, Are you deaf? If you don't want to move, then you can become a corpse. Boom! A beam of sword light swept out, cutting through more than 10 thick ancient trees and slashing towards Yi Qinghan. Boom! Yi Qinghan released his aura, and the golden bell shield protected the 8 hunters and the divine bird. He smashed through space with his palm and slammed into the sword chi, shattering the sharp immortal sword formed by the sword chi. He then easily took the 8 hunters and retreated more than 100 meters. The immortal heaven immortal was stunned. He turned to look at Yi Qinghan, then looked at the white fox that was fleeing into the distance. For a moment, he did not know which to kill first. Whoosh! 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 In the blink of an eye, more than 10 figures rushed over. They were all immortal heaven immortals, and they were all dressed in the same color. Judging from their attire, they should be from some clan or sect. But judging from their ostentation, they should have a powerful background. Yi Qinghan subconsciously retreated, leading the 8 hunters with him. He stared at the approaching celestial immortals, then frowned and said, You're chasing after your prey. We're just hunters. We don't want to get involved in your affairs. Bai Zishan was shocked when he saw their attire. He quickly reminded them, They're from the Haoyan immortal sect. Hunters of the Bai clan village greet you, my lords. We didn't know it was an order from the Haoyan immortal sect, so we hesitated. Please don't take it to heart. Bai Zishan bowed respectfully. The leading immortal heaven immortal was enraged. He actually stopped chasing after the white fox and pointed his sword at Yi Qinghan. A country bumpkin from the village dares to go against the will of this great immortal? I can't even catch the white fox. Today, I'll vent my anger on you. Senior apprentice brother Huang, it's more important to chase after the white fox. She can already transform into an immortal and is worth 800,000 celestial coins. It's not worth it for this fool. After we finish our mission, we'll go to the Bai clan village to find him. We can even slaughter his entire village. Yi Qinghan's eyebrows sank and his eyes flashed with killing intent. These immortal heaven immortals were indeed very powerful. If he didn't have any special immortal items or defensive immortal treasures, it shouldn't be too hard to kill them. But he was afraid that something unexpected might happen. If even one of them escaped, it would cause a lot of trouble. Moreover, he couldn't trust these 8 hunters. At the very least, they would definitely choose the safety of the village over him. The immortal heaven immortal surnamed Huang gave Yi Qinghan a cold look, then put away his sword and snorted. I'll spare your life for now. But go back and wash your neck. Wait for me to slaughter you. Whoosh.hua. The 13 immortal heaven immortals continued their pursuit in the direction of the beast tide, leaving Yi Qinghan and the 8 frightened hunters behind. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists and looked in the direction they left. Then, he turned to Bai Zishan and asked seriously, what's the background of this Hao Lian immortal sect? Are there any immortal Xian immortal experts in the sect? Bai Zishan nodded fearfully. The aura of fear was very obvious. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have told this group of people about his identity. Now, he had brought a fatal disaster upon himself. Bai Zishan quickly explained the situation of the Hao Lian immortal sect. However, he didn't know much about it. Most of it was from hearsay. But overall, the Hao Lian immortal sect wasn't very powerful. At the very least, these 13 immortal heaven immortals probably didn't have any powerful immortal items or defensive immortal treasures. They should be able to kill them. You guys go back first. I'll follow and take a look. Yi Qinghan said calmly. Chapter 2300. As soon as Yi Qinghan left, the 8 hunters trembled. A cold wind blew, causing Bai Zishan to break out in cold sweat. However, the only fortunate thing was that this path was opened up by Yi Qinghan. As long as they left quickly, there wouldn't be much danger. Let's go back. Bai Zishan quickly led the 7 hunters back to where they came from. Yi Qinghan's figure was like a ghost as he followed the group of people from the Hao Lian immortal sect. The white fox was already nowhere to be seen. However, this group of people seemed to be able to predict the white fox's location. They kept changing directions and slowly broke away from the beast horde. Head west. The white fox was hit by our divine light powder. It won't be able to escape. The leader, Huang Tianxian, shouted. The remaining 10 or so people shouted excitedly, "Ha! This fox immortal is priceless. If we meet a big customer, it'll be worth 1,000,000 immortal coins. This time, we've done a great service for the immortal sect. 1,000,000 immortal coins might be enough for me to reach the late stage of the sky immortal realm." Huang Tianxian said excitedly. Xiu 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 da hua. The 13 immortal immortals used stellar transposition to rush deeper. This was the foundation of the Hao Lian immortal sect. 80% of the sky immortal experts were here. If they all died here, the Hao Lian immortal sect would go crazy. Yi Qinghan stared coldly at Huang Tianxian. With a light wave of his hand, he broke off a tree branch. With a light swipe, he saw that the branch was covered in soul-stealing immortal runes. As long as he stabbed it, he would definitely be able to kill an immortal. I'm sorry. This is your senior brother Huang's fault. I didn't want to kill you. Yi Qinghan kept dodging, using the ancient trees as cover to get closer to the experts. Some of these immortals were fast and some were slow. There would always be some who were tens or even hundreds of meters behind. Yi Qinghan flashed through some bushes and appeared behind a rock. He retracted his aura and waited for the other immortals to pass by. Soon 12 of them passed by. The one with the weakest cultivation base and the slowest speed appeared beside the rock. Yi Qinghan's staff pierced his head. A terrifying force shattered his sea of consciousness. The immortal runes were like thunder, destroying his body. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan took the corpse and hid in the brambles. The group of undying heavenly immortals didn't care about what was happening behind them. Yi Qinghan's control over his strength was extremely precise. Not a single bit of his strength leaked out. Yi Qinghan let out a breath of turbid air as he watched the group leave. Now, it would be much more difficult to kill another one. After following this group of people for more than 3,000 miles, they finally caught up with the white fox. Only when the 12 experts surrounded the white fox did they realize that one person was missing. "Where's Qing Shuang?" Huang Tianxian asked coldly. "I don't know. Maybe he got lost. Ignore him for now. The white fox is right before us. Let's capture it first," a formidable heavenly immortal said. Huang Tianxian waved his hand and said, "Capture him alive. If he's dead, he'll be worthless." Boom! Whoosh! The white fox was extremely fast. Its sharp claws could even pierce through the stable space of the immortal world. Boom! 12 experts surrounded him. Sword radiance swept out, destroying the mountains and rivers in all directions. Thousands of beasts fled in terror, and hundreds of birds soared into the sky. Screech! Roar! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Mountains and rivers were sent flying. Sabers and swords flashed. The 12 immortal heavenly immortals' auras were like rainbows as they attacked, forcing the white fox to dodge everywhere. Whoosh! The white fox was simply too fast. It was so fast that there were afterimages everywhere within 1,000 meters. After hundreds of attacks, it still could not escape the encirclement. In the end, it could only kill these immortal heavenly immortals. 1.5 miles away, atop a tall mountain, Yi Qinghan, dressed in a white robe, stood atop the mountain, looking down at the group of experts surrounding the white fox. The killing intent in his eyes grew stronger, but he did not act rashly. This was because the white fox's strength was even more terrifying than he had imagined. Its speed and sharp claws were enough to kill immortal heavenly immortals. It could even threaten his own life. Yi Qinghan waited silently. He waited for both sides to suffer. Roar! The white fox roared angrily and calmed down. After a few fights, it targeted a slightly weaker immortal heavenly immortal and chased after him. Splat! A moment later, that immortal heavenly immortal's defensive clothes were torn apart. Its sharp claws pierced through his right arm, and the sword in his hand flew out. Clang! Bang! The immortal sword pierced through the void and stabbed into the ground. The white fox wanted to kill this immortal heavenly immortal in one blow, but Huang Tianxian and the other experts followed closely behind, forcing the white fox to flee. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Huang Tianxian's sword turned into 10,000 swords, sealing off the white fox's escape route. Boom! The immortal sword broke through mountains and rivers. The white fox kept attacking, but its snow-white fur was swept away and cut open. Blood stained the fox's body, turning it into a blood fox. This angered the white fox even more. Roar! The white fox roared and its sharp claws tore through huge trees. It twisted and turned, constantly attacking from behind the group of experts. Its speed nearly doubled, and in the blink of an eye, it heavily injured a immortal heavenly immortal expert. Boom, boom, boom. Immortals were constantly injured. Their necks, throats, and arms were all covered in claw marks. However, the white fox's injuries were also getting worse. After several consecutive attacks, its body was almost pierced through. Huff, 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 the white fox panted, its eyes filled with despair. If its true body could not escape, it would be even more difficult to transform into human form. Yi Qinghan was expressionless. The wooden staff in his hand was filled with killing immortal patterns, even more terrifying than a powerful immortal weapon. His aura was restrained, and not a single ripple leaked out. His body was slightly bent, waiting for the final explosion. Aren't you going to be the hero saving the beauty? The divine bird looked at Yi Qinghan curiously. Yi Qinghan looked coldly at the battlefield and said indifferently, "Wait a little longer. These immortals are from orthodox sections. They are much stronger than unorthodox experts. I want to kill them all, not heavily injure them. I can't take the risk." He did not care about the white fox's life or death. No matter how beautiful the white fox was, it was not as important as his own life. Whoosh, screech. The white fox screamed and was sent flying several times. However, it struggled to stand up each time, glaring furiously at the group of immortals. The group of experts did not have it easy either. The white fox's speed was unparalleled, and its sharp claws were even more lethal. It left many injuries on the group of immortals. 4 of them had lost their ability to resist, and 3 were lightly injured. This was an impressive result. Yi Qinghan stealthily approached the battlefield with the wooden staff in hand. His eyes were like lightning, staring at his prey like a falcon. There were 12 people, and he had calculated the position of every single one of them. How to kill them all? This required a perfect plan. Kill Huang Tianxian first. He is the strongest. I have to kill him in one blow. I can't give him a chance to resist. Yi Qinghan muttered to himself. 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer. When Yi Qinghan was 300 meters away, the group was still wild with joy. This was because the white fox had lost its ability to resist. They were the most relaxed, and the swords in their hands were hanging down. We're rich. This white fox is so strong. It is the favorite slave of Xian immortal experts. It should be worth more than 1,000,000 celestial coins. Huang Tianxian said joyfully. Congratulations, senior apprentice brother. The group of immortals laughed. Haha, I won't mistreat my junior apprentice brothers. Huang Tianxian laughed loudly. He wanted to grab the white fox lying in a pool of blood. Squelch. A bolt of lightning pierced through the clouds, piercing through Huang Tianxian's head from the back. The immortal killing seal exploded in his sea of consciousness, blasting his limbs and bones. In an instant, a celestial immortal was killed. Huang Tianxian did not even have time to turn his head before he fell to the ground. Chapter 2301. Huang Tianxian fell to the ground before he could even see who killed him. Pucci, Yi Qinghan pulled out the wooden staff. The immortal runes had already been damaged. He waved his hand again and set up a new one. At this moment, he was already in the air, his body twisting as he stabbed another stunned immortal heaven immortal. Boom! The thin wooden staff pierced through the throat. Yi Qinghan pushed the end of the staff with his palm, directly piercing it through the throat. His left hand grabbed the staff and pulled it out from the back of the immortal heaven immortal's neck. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. While everyone was still in a daze, he had already unleashed his third attack. Whoosh! The 6th finger of the sacred finger of annihilation was like a stampede of 10,000 beasts, flattening everything. It pressed down on the head of an uninjured immortal heaven immortal with a thunderous force, directly shattering his head. The powerful immortal heaven immortal's soul was so weak when it collided with Yi Qinghan's soul. Whoosh! When Yi Qinghan killed the 3rd immortal heaven immortal, he was still in midair. His large hand touched the wooden staff, and the immortal runes filled the decaying staff. Whoosh! Pucci! Yi Qinghan unleashed his peak strength and threw out the wooden staff. It was like a javelin, but it contained the power to kill immortals. It pierced through the void and nailed another immortal heaven immortal to the mountain rock. Boom! The mountain rock was pierced through like tofu by the wooden staff. The corpse hung in the air, swaying with the wind. It took at most 3 breaths of time. During this time, everyone was in a daze. When Yi Qinghan killed the 4th immortal heaven immortal, they cried out in horror and took several steps back. They all drew their swords and pointed at Yi Qinghan. It's that country bumpkin. The Bai family village. The people of the Haolian immortal sect looked at Yi Qinghan in horror, recognizing Yi Qinghan's identity. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and broke a wooden staff. He smiled silently and replied, I'm not from the Bai family village. The country bumpkin, perhaps. After all, I'm also from a small world in the countryside. The immortal killing runes once again covered the long rod, containing the power of immortal slaying. You want to fight with us over the white fox? One of the celestial immortals barked angrily. Do you know who we are? The Haolian immortal sect will not let you off. Yi Qinghan raised the corners of his mouth into a mocking smile. He then turned to look at the dying white fox and calmly said, "I wasn't trying to fight for the white fox. You were the ones who tried to kill me. That's why I wanted to kill you. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame yourselves for shooting your mouths off and being blind as a bat." Whoosh! Roar. Yi Qinghan held the wooden stick and stabbed it out like an immortal sword. His speed was as fast as lightning. Without the restraint of his physical body, his terrifying soul was like a wild horse that had escaped its reins. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived in front of an immortal of the Haolian immortal sect. Bang! The other party's immortal sword tore apart the wooden stick, and the wooden stick instantly turned into two narrow and sharp strips. Its power was like lightning, unstoppable. The immortal sword pierced the other party's eyes twice. The immortal killing runes exploded in the other party's head, shattering its life force. Its final struggle caused a shockwave to surge into the sky. The white fox, lying in a pool of blood, was sent flying again. Boom! Bam bam bam. Yi Qinghan was also knocked back a few steps. His expression was somewhat ugly. Die! Yi Qinghan growled. He smashed the space with his palm, causing space-time to distort. It directly hit his physical body and sent him crashing into the mountain. 5 uninjured celestial immortals were instantly killed by Yi Qinghan's sneak attack. They were not weak, but Yi Qinghan was too strong. Coupled with the sneak attack, they were all killed in the blink of an eye. Only 4 celestial immortals were left, and 3 were lightly injured. These 7 were weak to begin with. Now that they were injured, their combat strength was much weaker. Yi Qinghan did not even consider them a threat. Ka. Swish, swish, swish. Yi Qinghan plucked the stars with one hand, directly breaking an ancient tree. The tree branches were as thick as a finger, and they were like arrows. Each arrow was covered with immortal killing runes. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan crossed his hands. With his will, he controlled hundreds of wooden arrows to rise into the air, all aimed at the injured celestial immortals. Fellow Taoist, you misunderstand. That was all Huang Chen's fault. It had nothing to do with us. The 3 celestial immortals who were not too badly injured cried out in alarm. They drew close to each other, pointing their swords at Yi Qinghan, seemingly begging for mercy. Yi Qinghan laughed coldly. Look at how you're aiming your swords at me as though you want to kill me. Is this your senior apprentice brother's fault? The 3 celestial immortals' faces turned pale. They could tell that Yi Qinghan was ridiculously powerful. Given their combat strength, they were definitely no match for him. They wanted to beg for mercy, but they were also afraid that Yi Qinghan would not let them go. All they could do was stand there, stunned. Swish, 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 swish. The 100+ wooden arrows were divided into 2 groups. Roughly 40 arrows pierced through the void, stabbing into the 4 celestial immortals who were lying in pools of their own blood. Immortal runes exploded, killing them on the spot. Only 3 half-baked celestial immortals were left. Elders of a small celestial sect like this, whose true ability to kill was not even comparable to the people of Great Peak Mountain. Yi Qinghan did not care about them at all. Kill! One of them was incomparably terrified, but he had no other choice. Yi Qinghan had even killed the heavily injured. How could he let him go? He waved his hand, commanding the other 2 to attack Yi Qinghan together. Swish, 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 swish. The 3 experts joined forces, unleashing a sword formation similar to the tripartite formation. Their movements were uniform, and their coordination was flawless. In the blink of an eye, they forced Yi Qinghan to retreat. Swish, swish, swish. The remaining dozens of wooden arrows shot towards the 3 celestial immortals from all directions, forcibly separating them. Kill! Swish, swish, swish. Sword light tore through the river, enveloping Yi Qinghan. The 2 celestial immortals were unstoppable. They attacked with all their might, but the celestial immortal who was about to attack first actually fled. Yi Qinghan was unable to kill the fleeing celestial immortal after being restrained. He furiously unleashed the fusion of 4 celestial techniques. The Immortal Sect's 5 Elements Golden Bell Shield, the Sacred Finger of Annihilation, the Immortal Sect's 5 Elements Transference Technique, and the space-piercing star-plucking palm all at the same time. Boom! One of the celestial immortals was sent flying, crashing into a mountain rock. He was dizzy from the impact. The other one was not in too bad of a state, but Yi Qinghan waved his hand, grabbing a wooden stick covered with immortal runes and nailing him to the ground. Swish! Yi Qinghan leaped into the air, slamming a palm into the chest of the other expert. The rock behind his back shattered. Bang! Yi Qinghan's palm turned into an elbow strike, smashing into the head. 12 of the 13 celestial immortals died, leaving only one who fled into the distance. Bang! With a leap, Yi Qinghan appeared in front of the white fox. Grabbing it, he transformed into a bolt of lightning and chased after the fleeing celestial immortal. His speed grew faster and faster, but celestial immortal Bushio had been gone for at least half an incense stick's worth of time. This time was enough for him to flee far, far away. Tell me, if that person fled towards the Haolian Immortal Sect, which path would he have taken? Yi Qinghan coldly asked, holding the white fox in his hand. The white fox was truly frightened. It had never seen such a terrifying celestial immortal in its life. How was this an celestial immortal? He was even more terrifying than an celestial immortal. Perhaps he would only lose to Xian immortals. Chapter 2302. The white fox's snow-like fur was dyed red, and there were at least 7 or 8 wounds on its body. However, it was able to severely injure 4 and injure 3 of the 12 celestial immortals. Its strength was considered top-notch. At this moment, the little white fox was curled up and moaning in pain. It was unable to reply. Yi Qinghan had lost track of the immortal celestial and knew nothing about this place. He could only rely on the little white fox, so he could only save the little white fox first. A strand of celestial spiritual energy slowly healed the little white fox's wounds and erased the wounds caused by the sword energy. A few life-saving celestial herbs were crushed into powder and stuffed into its mouth. The little white fox finally woke up. It opened its hazy eyes and looked very cute. Suddenly, the little white fox emitted celestial light in all directions. Specks of starlight shrouded it, and a girl's body gradually formed. Yi Qinghan's pupils constricted as he threw the little white fox onto the ground. In the blink of an eye, the little white fox immortal had transformed into a beautiful little girl. She had big eyes, snow-white skin, and a small cherry mouth. Her cuteness was enough to shatter any man's defenses. Especially her devilish figure. Her slender legs were exposed, and they were as white as lotus roots. They were as straight as a line. Her upper body was slightly plump, but it made her look even more feminine. Especially her hurt and panicked expression, even in existence like Yi Qinghan's heart palpitated. Charming, enchanting, but with a trace of deadly purity. She did not look like a celestial being transformed from a demon fox at all. Little white fox immortal greets immortal immortal. Thank you immortal immortal for saving my life. The little white fox quickly stood up and said respectfully. Yi Qinghan's expression did not change. He still said coldly, less nonsense. Answer my question. If that person were to return to the Haolian Immortal Sect, which path would he take? The little white fox immortal should have lived in this area and was very familiar with this place. She frowned slightly and pointed to the northwest. She said crisply, Immortal, that path is the closest, whoosh. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan directly grabbed the little white fox immortal's small hand and ran wildly in the wilderness like lightning. His speed was definitely faster than the immortal celestial of the Haolian Immortal Sect. Even the little white fox immortal felt inferior. Boom! Bang! Yi Qinghan's long legs were firm and powerful. Even the rocks on the mountain were shattered. His eyes roamed around, and his divine sense covered 1,000 meters. Not even an ant could escape from his divine sense. Tens of kilometers away, a heavily wounded celestial immortal was hiding in a cave in terror, hoping to escape Yi Qinghan's pursuit. His legs were trembling, and the webbing between his thumb and forefinger had been torn apart, with blood constantly oozing out. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, knock knock knocked. The eternal celestial immortal had a look of panic on his face as he lay outside the cave, his heart thumping wildly. That damned bastard. When I return to the immortal sect, I'll definitely raise your stronghold to the ground, you bumpkin. Immortal Heaven Immortal said resentfully. However, just an hour ago, at the headquarters of the Howlian Immortal sect in the northwest of the Cloud Plaza, the guards guarding the immortal soul life plates of the immortal sect experts screamed in fear. Something bad has happened. The life tablets of Senior Uncle Huang and the other elders have all shattered. Adat the little disciple was so shocked that he couldn't even stand properly. He scrambled to the main hall of the Howlian Immortal sect. The few remaining celestial immortals of the Howlian Immortal sect were all alarmed, and even the sect master was shaken out. No sect would be able to bear the loss of more than a dozen celestial immortals, let alone a half-baked sect like this. How could they not be angry when more than half of their 16 celestial immortals were killed in an instant? The sect master was not an immortal Xian immortal, but an immortal Heaven immortal. However, his strength was extremely terrifying, and he was already a high-level celestial immortal. If he came personally, coupled with his immortal weapon and defensive immortal robe, Yi Qinghan would not be his match. Find out where junior brother Huang and the others were last seen. Find the murderer for me. Howlian Zhengtai clenched his iron fist and shouted angrily. In the distant ancient forest, Yi Qinghan quickly found the location of the immortal Heaven Immortal. His powerful divine sense swept past the cave, but he pretended not to see it. The rod and arrow in his hand shone with immortal light, and the killing aura of the immortal patterns were exceptionally fierce. Yi Qinghan threw Little White Fox Immortal aside and disappeared in a flash. The immortal Heaven Immortal hiding in the cave was terrified, and his heart was about to explode. His large eyes scanned the surroundings outside the cave, but he could not find Yi Qinghan's location. Where is he? Where did he go? The immortal Heaven Immortal expert murmured in horror. Yi Qinghan's figure flickered, and he appeared outside the cave. He said coldly, "Here." The immortal Heaven Immortal screamed like a little girl about to be ravaged. He was truly afraid of Yi Qinghan. Boom! Yi Qinghan slammed his palm on the man's chest, and a terrifying spiritual force swept into his sea of consciousness, wildly devouring it. A powerful low-level celestial immortal's soul was actually so weak in front of Yi Qinghan's soul, an earth immortal. "No, I beg you," the immortal Heaven Immortal screamed, almost begging. Unfortunately, it was too late. A loose tongue can cause trouble. If their senior martial brother Huang hadn't wanted to kill Yi Qinghan and slaughter the entire stronghold, they wouldn't have been slaughtered. Yi Qinghan forcibly devoured the immortal Heaven Immortal's soul and expressionlessly removed the immortal Heaven Immortal's ring from his finger. The immortal Heaven Immortal's ring was now in an ownerless state, and there were actually quite a few immortal coins inside, about 700,000 or 800,000 immortal coins. This was the lifetime savings of an immortal Heaven Immortal. There were also quite a few immortal herbs, worth a few 100,000 immortal coins. Oh no, what should I do? I forgot the immortal Heaven Immortal rings of those people. Yi Qinghan screamed. This was a huge fortune. His figure flashed and he rushed out. Yi Qinghan's figure flashed, and he rushed past Little White Fox Immortal. Where are you going, Great Immortal? Little White Fox Immortal hurriedly chased after Yi Qinghan, but her speed was much slower than Yi Qinghan's. She simply returned to her original body, and her speed suddenly increased by several times. She was actually able to keep up with Yi Qinghan's speed. Yi Qinghan did not say anything, and instead, he rushed back the way he came. About an hour later, he arrived at the battlefield. The 11 corpses were not far from each other. Yi Qinghan quickly removed the immortal Heaven Immortal ring from his finger and put it into his robes. Without even thinking, he said, "Do you want to die by staying here? The Howlian Immortal sect will quickly investigate this place." Little White Fox Immortal stared innocently at Yi Qinghan, shook her head, and replied, "I don't know where I'm going either. Wherever I go, I'll be chased. Why don't I acknowledge you as my master, and you can bring me away, Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows. He did not understand little white fox immortal at all. No matter how beautiful she was still a demon, and he did not want to bring her along. Bring her along. She's worth nearly 1,000,000 celestial coins. The divine bird said wretchedly. Yi Qinghan's expression froze, and only then did he remember why this group of people was chasing little white fox. He nodded and said, "All right, sign a soul contract with me. I don't have a physical body, so I can't sign a master-servant contract. Let's have an equal contract." The reason why Little White Fox Immortal was willing to follow Yi Qinghan was because she didn't have a body of flesh and blood, so she couldn't sign a master-servant contract. An equal contract was the best. Besides, Yi Qinghan was strong enough, so it was safe to follow him. Whoosh! Little White Fox Immortal spat out a strand of origin and directly formed a contract with Yi Qinghan's soul. Chapter 2303. Little Fox Immortal had an ulterior motive. She signed the contract without hesitation and merged with Yi Qinghan. The smell of blood in the ancient forest was still so strong. Yi Qinghan didn't have time to take the last immortal ring because he felt a murderous intent. It should be the people from Hao Lian Immortal School. Let's go. After Yi Qinghan merged with Little Fox Immortal, he followed Little Fox Immortal's instructions and rushed towards the northeast. When Yi Qinghan was about 10 miles away, 3 figures appeared on the battlefield. One of them was the sect master of Hao Lian Immortal School. Behind him were 2 supreme elders of Hao Lian Immortal School. All of them were high-level immortal heavenly immortals. They had white hair and a youthful face. They looked like immortals. However, the murderous intent in their eyes couldn't be concealed. 11 corpses were here and 2 were far away. The fatal wounds on their bodies were the same. They were all stabbed in the vital parts by rods. This person has a very thorough understanding of immortal runes. Is there such an immortal heavenly immortal around here? One of the elders asked in a deep voice. Hao Lian Zhengtai took a deep breath and carefully looked at the corpses. He found that some of the corpses had scratches on them. They had the smell of Fox Immortal. It wasn't a bad smell. It was the smell of Fox Immortal. It was a kind of aphrodisiac for humans. Uncle Masters, we don't know the identity of the person who killed Junior Brother Huang and the others. However, Little Fox Immortal can patrol. Let's bring the corpses back first. Then, we'll ask Profound Immortal Yun Guang to help us find Little Fox Immortal's whereabouts. There aren't many of these things. Hao Lian Jingtai said in a deep voice. The 2 elders were furious. Of the 13 corpses, 6 of them were their direct disciples. They had spent so many years to cultivate these immortal heavenly immortals. Now, all of them were dead. They couldn't suppress their murderous intent. This ancient forest was within the range of Yunguang City. With Profound Immortal Yunguang's help, even a Profound Immortal might not be able to get out. The 3 of them made up their minds. They put the 11 corpses into their own worlds. After searching for half a day, they found the remaining 2 corpses. Whoosh-da-whoosh. The 3 immortal heavenly immortals were extremely fast, even faster than Yi Qinghan. They were already infinitely close to the Xian immortal realm, but their potential had been exhausted, and they could only stay in this realm for the rest of their lives. Under fair conditions, almost no heavenly immortal realm experts could shake them. As the sky darkened, they left the ancient forest and returned to the sect late at night. That night, they informed the previous sect master of the Hao Lian immortal sect, Hao Lian Fenghua, who was the only Xian immortal in the sect. Fenghua Xian immortal had been cultivating in seclusion for countless years. His cultivation base had already stabilized at the early immortal Xian immortal realm. His understanding of immortal arts and secret techniques was already quite thorough. His combat strength was definitely far beyond Sikong Tanlang's. Xian immortal Fenghua's hair was all white. He looked like he was past his prime, but his eyes were sharper than lightning. Zhengtai, how many sky immortal elders died this time? Xian immortal Fenghua asked coldly. Hao Lian Zhengtai replied respectfully, a total of 17 heavenly immortal elders. This time, 13 of them were sacrificed. They chased after the white fox and none of them returned. Are there any special clues? Xian Immortal Fenghua frowned and asked. How Lian Jingtai placed the 13 corpses in the main hall. The wounds on the corpses were more or less the same. 12 of their immortal rings had also been taken away. Only one immortal ring was left. Just this immortal ring alone was worth a lot. Their foundations were even more profound. It was enough for them to establish a small sect. Immortal rune killing restriction, immortal ring, little white fox immortal. Investigate according to these 3 clues. I will ask Dao friend Yun Guang for help. Daring to slaughter my Haolian immortal sect so brazenly, they must be tired of living. Xian Immortal Fenghua said coldly. The space in the hall twisted and Xian Immortal Fenghua disappeared without a trace. This was the power of a Xian Immortal. Yi Qinghan ran with Little White Fox Immortal. It took them 2 days to get out of the ancient forest. Little White Fox Immortal was dressed in white. She was so beautiful that she didn't look like a human. Yi Qinghan looked at her and felt that she was too high profile. However, Little White Fox Immortal liked to walk the world like a human. Yi Qinghan couldn't persuade her at all. If you follow me like this, we will be exposed sooner or later. Yi Qinghan's attitude was cold. He stared at Little White Fox Immortal with pressure. Brother Yi, even if you run out on the streets and tell the world that you killed the 13 heavenly immortals, do you think anyone will believe you? Little White Fox Immortal snickered and asked. Yi Qinghan snorted and said unhappily, but don't forget, some of the corpses have your scratch marks. Fox Immortal must be one of their clues. If you follow me, I will become a target of suspicion. Don't you understand this? Then I'll change my appearance. I can't change my appearance, but I can still change this face of mine that looks like a celestial fairy into something more ordinary. Little White Fox Immortal had a fawning smile on her face as she begged, Actually, I really like to walk around the world like you humans. Just satisfy my curiosity. Yi Qinghan was helpless. He snorted, if you weren't familiar with Yunguang City and I didn't need you to show me the way, I would have thrown you away long ago. Little White Fox Immortal stuck out her tongue playfully and pulled Yi Qinghan into a small valley. A stream flowed down the valley and a waterfall roared. It was a fairyland. Wait for me for a while. Let me change my appearance. Little White Fox Immortal squatted beside the stream and polished a stone trough. She poured some clear water into it and used it as a mirror. Then she searched for some strange herbs. It seemed like it wasn't her first time changing her appearance. Little White Fox Immortal wiped her face and said with a smile, I yearn for humans. Every time I want to go out, I will change my appearance to hide my beauty and the unique body fragrance of a fox immortal. This body fragrance is an aphrodisiac to humans. I didn't expect you to have no reaction after smelling it. Are you not a man? Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes and was too lazy to answer. He sat on the stone and waited silently. Women who knew how to change their appearance were always troublesome. After more than 2 hours, when the sun was high up in the sky, Yi Qinghan was getting impatient. When he turned around, he couldn't help but be stunned. This girl didn't have any of her previous charm. Instead, she had become a village girl from a mountain village. She was more pure and cute, but less charming. The smell on her body had also disappeared. If not for her white clothes, Yi Qinghan would have thought that she was a different person. Yi Qinghan was shocked. He whispered, How long can this disguise last? Little White Fox Immortal stretched out 2 fingers and grinned, revealing a row of white teeth. She said proudly, 2 months. Even if you wash it with water, it won't be able to wash it off. Yi Qinghan was surprised. This was the first time he felt that Little White Fox Immortal was still useful. Yi Qinghan said, Change into some old clothes and follow me. We will enter Yunguang City first and see if there is any special way to reach the ancient Emperor College faster. Chapter 2304. In the human territory, grasslands were everywhere. Many low-grade spiritual herbs were priceless in Eternal World. However, here, they were everywhere and no one wanted them. Immortal Qi was rich. Yi Qinghan led the village girl Little Fox Immortal to stroll in the sea of flowers. An immortal earth, immortal led an immortal heaven, immortal around. This was the first time something like this had happened, and it attracted the attention of many people. Yi Qinghan lowered his head and kept a low profile. He did not want to attract attention. However, this little fox immortal might have really yearned for human life. She was curious about everything and was close to nature. Her actions always attracted people's attention. "Can you be quiet?" Yi Qinghan reprimanded in a low voice. Little fox immortal looked at Yi Qinghan innocently and asked in a low voice, "Can't I move?" "Damn." Yi Qinghan slapped his head. He really wanted to force this little fox immortal down and teach her a lesson. "Be quiet for now. After we leave Vast Cloud City, you can do whatever you want. I will even take the initiative to expose my location. Is that okay?" Yi Qinghan said while gritting his teeth. Little fox immortal looked at Yi Qinghan curiously. She looked at him as if he was an idiot and asked seriously, "Why? Are you sick?" "You are the one who is sick. I naturally have my own reasons for wanting to expose my location. Don't ask me," Yi Qinghan replied snappily. Little fox immortal curled her lips and silently followed Yi Qinghan. Her big eyes looked around and saw many experts emerging. There were also some spies from the government and the eyes of some forces. Yi Qinghan also found something wrong. Some of these people were clearly not ordinary adventurers or cultivators. The purpose in their eyes was too strong. Is the Hao Lian immortal sect so powerful? How long has it been and they are able to mobilize such a large number of experts to come find us? Yi Qinghan asked in surprise. Little fox immortal shook her head and replied, "These people are not from the Hao Lian immortal sect. They should be experts from the government forces and some small forces. I don't think they are looking for us." Yi Qinghan pondered and said, "Could it be that the people from Endless Peak Mountain sent the people from Vast Cloud City to find me?" Yi Qinghan was not sure, but he could not take risks at will. He had to leave Yunguang City before he could reveal his identity. This way, he could attract the attention of Great Peak Mountain and Sikong City, lest they set their sights on the Kuang sect. Yi Qinghan held Little Fox Immortal's hand as they walked on the grassland in a low-key manner. They specifically walked on the roads that were sparsely populated. However, he discovered a problem. The main target of these spies was the immortal heaven immortals. As an earth immortal, he was not noticed at all. It's not someone from Ultimate Peak Mountain. Otherwise, they would mainly pay attention to earth immortals. Not to mention, I'm just a soul body. Yi Qinghan quickly determined that the other party's actions were not from Endless Peak Mountain. He finally breathed a sigh of relief. Since it was not from Endless Peak Mountain, then there was nothing to be afraid of from the Hao Lian immortal sect. "You seem to have other worries. Do you have other enemies?" Little Fox Immortal asked curiously. Yi Qinghan snorted and did not answer Little Fox Immortal. He was really afraid that this guy would betray him. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan's figure flashed as he brought Little Fox Immortal along the official road. There were all kinds of people on the road. There were human-shaped monsters, giants in the form of giant beasts, and even people in the form of immortal herbs. Most of their cultivation bases were between immortal earth immortals and immortal spirit immortals. Immortal heaven immortals rarely traveled outside, and even if they did, they would not appear on the official road. Suppress your realm and maintain the immortal earth immortal realm. Yi Qinghan whispered. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Yi Qinghan brought Little Fox Immortal a few days later into a market. This was not a small town. It was just a temporary market. The location could change at any time. A large number of experts were here to exchange for resources. From the immortal heaven immortal realm to the small saint realm, the road was filled with adventurers and caravans. People from all over the place gathered here. There are still 5 days to trade. Quickly prepare the goods and set off. A few middle-aged men brushed past Yi Qinghan. Their voices were not soft. They revealed a piece of information. This market could exist for at most 5 days. After the trade, this group of people would go their separate ways. Yi Qinghan touched his nose and decided to trade for an immortal horse. This way, the speed would be much faster. Let's go. Let's see if there is anything we need in the market. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. There were all kinds of treasures. They were all found by adventurers deep in the mountains. There were many things that they did not recognize. However, Little Fox Immortal grew up in the mountains. She knew many of the immortal medicines and even understood their effects. There are many treasures. Unfortunately, I don't have any immortal coins. Otherwise, I could buy some. Little Fox Immortal said excitedly. Divine Bird was already going crazy. Its feathers spread out and its claws grabbed onto Yi Qinghan's clothes. Its eyes stared at the treasures around it. It was drooling. Gulp. Divine Bird swallowed its saliva and said, Boss, why don't we take this opportunity to buy some? If we miss this opportunity, there won't be another one. Yi Qinghan nodded indifferently. He said to Divine Bird and Little Fox Immortal, Wake me up when I see a very important treasure. There are about a few million immortal coins in these immortal rings. It should be enough for us. At this time, Little Fox Immortal and Divine Bird were excited. They practically pulled Yi Qinghan around and pointed at some strange immortal treasures. Yi Qinghan was really a country bumpkin. He did not know anything about the immortal realm. However, since Little Fox Immortal and Divine Bird approved of it, there was only one word, and that was, buy. But, Little Fox Immortal was in charge of bargaining. Yi Qinghan was in charge of paying the immortal coins. It had to be said that bargaining was a woman's nature. The same was true for shopping. Little Fox Immortal's eyes lit up when she saw the real immortal treasures. When others saw her expression, how could she let it go? Therefore, the price could not be cut much. However, Little Fox Immortal was very happy. Some special treasures, after Little Fox Immortal cut down the price, she would directly put them into her immortal ring. No matter how Yi Qinghan fought, she would not take them out. In the end, she could only comply. In just one day, Yi Qinghan had spent 1,000,000 celestial coins. He really spent money like water. He was a complete local tyrant. Soon, the news spread throughout the bazaar. Many people were looking forward to Yi Qinghan coming to their shop. However, the things that the Divine Bird and Little Fox Immortal took a fancy to were not substandard goods. The most important thing was that they were practical. Ordinary goods could not enter their eyes. At night, when everyone was resting, Yi Qinghan purchased a tent. Something that usually cost only a few celestial coins was sold for a few hundred celestial coins. You and I are sharing a tent. Don't waste a few hundred celestial coins, Yi Qinghan said calmly. Little Fox Immortal charmingly smiled, threw a coquettish wink and said, As long as you're not afraid, I don't care. Yi Qinghan shuddered. It was best not to provoke this kind of woman. Otherwise, sooner or later, he would be ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* quickly set up a tent that was big enough for 2 people. Then he set up an array formation around the tent. No matter what was discussed in the tent, no one outside would be able to know. Chapter 23:05. The market was surrounded by tents with a radius of about 3 or 4 miles. There were countless tents and bonfires swaying in groups. Only a few celestial immortal realm experts were moving alone. Yi Qinghan and Little Fox Immortal entered the tent. The divine bird consciously sealed itself in its blood, not daring to disturb the two of them. However, Yi Qinghan was not interested in Little Fox Immortal at this time and did not dare to provoke her. So, once he entered the tent, he turned his back to Little Fox Immortal and silently adjusted his breath. Little Fox Immortal looked at Yi Qinghan's back and glared at him. She said angrily, "Everyone wants to capture me as a slave. Now that I'm in front of you, you turn your back to me. Has your brain been kicked by a ferocious beast?" Yi Qinghan replied indifferently, "You also said that I only want to capture you as a slave. If you want to be my slave, I don't mind. All things are equal. I am not a celestial immortal. Why should I be your slave?" Little Fox Immortal asked angrily. Yi Qinghan's eyelids twitched. He turned his head to look at Little Fox Immortal, but Little Fox Immortal stretched her head over to lie on top of Yi Qinghan's head. Their lips almost touched. Wah! Little Fox Immortal did not seem to be afraid of strangers and did not care about reputation. She directly rode on Yi Qinghan. Hiss hiss hiss. Little Fox Immortal's 5 slender fingernails pierced out and pressed them against Yi Qinghan's neck. She turned hostile as if she was flipping the pages of a book. She sneered and threatened, "You are indeed very powerful, but it doesn't seem that difficult for me to kill you." Yi Qinghan's hair stood on end and he broke out in cold sweat. What Little Fox Immortal said was true. He was in a soul state. With Little Fox Immortal's claws on his neck at such a close distance, he did not even have a chance to resist. "Are you crazy? Hurry up and take it away. I'm in a soul body. It's easy to die." Yi Qinghan glared at Little Fox Immortal and said. In the tent, the atmosphere was particularly strange. Little Fox Immortal's body was emitting a strong aphrodisiac. This was not intentional. She involuntarily emitted this kind of smell when she was emotional. However, it was an extremely fatal temptation to humans. Yi Qinghan took a few deep breaths. He wanted to push Little Fox Fairy's claws away, but Little Fox Fairy's big eyes stared at him. It seemed that she was not joking, so he did not dare to mess around. "Little Fox Immortal, I saved your life." Yi Qinghan stared at the beautiful Little Fox Immortal and reminded her in a deep voice. Little Fox Immortal sneered and replied, "So what? You humans approach me, which one of you doesn't have a motive? What are you pretending for? I just want you to lead the way for me. Do you have to be like this?" Yi Qinghan roared angrily. "Lead the way? What did you just say about slaves? Still want to pretend? You dare to say that you are not interested in me?" Little Who Immortal sneered disdainfully. Yi Qinghan looked at the voluptuous Little Fox Immortal and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He firmly shook his head and said, "I'm not interested in you. At least, I'm not interested in you now." "Really? I don't believe it." Little Fox Immortal seemed to be even angrier. She clasped Yi Qinghan's neck with one hand. As long as she exerted a little force, Yi Qinghan's soul might suffer an irreparable blow, causing him to not dare to move. Her other hand gently stroked his chest, and the immortal robe was quickly undone. "What are you doing?" Yi Qinghan asked nervously. Little Fox Immortal laughed evilly. "Although I have not mated with a human before, my clansmen have said that as long as a human has a reaction, it means that they are interested in us Fox Immortals. In the end, it will evolve into a perverted greed. They want to tame us as slaves, specifically to amuse themselves. If you don't have a reaction, I will spare you. If you have a reaction, hee." Yi Qinghan flew into a rage and angrily rebuked, "Which psychopath told you that? Which man would not have a reaction after being touched by a woman like that? Not to mention you, even if any fairy came, I would have a reaction. Our clan elder told me. She would not lie to me. There is no good person among humans." Little Fox Immortal was abnormally firm. Her jade hand directly reached into Yi Qinghan's chest. This kind of teasing technique was very vicious. It was definitely professionally trained. "Hee, our clan elder specially trained us so that we can save our lives at critical moments. Even if we are captured and tamed as slaves by humans, we will be especially dependent on us." Little Fox Immortal said confidently. Yi Qinghan's forehead was already covered in cold sweat. This Little Fox Immortal was simply crazy. "Your clan elder is a psychopath. Hurry up and let go of me. I will pretend that nothing happened," Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. "Umph." Little Fox Immortal's legs exerted force and directly pressed down on Yi Qinghan's long legs. Her slender nails were already blossoming with 7-colored immortal light. This was clearly a poison. As long as it cut Yi Qinghan's soul, no matter how strong his soul was, he would still die here today. Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Seeing that Little Fox Immortal did not seem to be joking, he could not help but laugh at himself. He did not think that he would die in the hands of his own immortal pet. "I really should not have believed you." "What are you doing? Take your hand out." Yi Qinghan was shocked. This Little Fox Immortal actually grabbed his second head. If she exerted force, his entire person would be crippled. Little Fox Immortal grinned and mocked. "You still say that you have no thoughts about me? You just touched me and you can't stand it anymore. Hypocrite." The immortal realm is filled with shameless villains like you. Yi Qinghan was really speechless. This woman was really stupid. Was she really a fox immortal? Why was she like a village girl? Don't touch there. Move your hand away and I will tell you some common sense. How about it? Yi Qinghan said with a bitter smile. Let's just say it like this. Don't think of sneak attacking me. I am not stupid. Otherwise, I would not have escaped the pursuit of so many people. Little Fox Immortal said proudly. Yi Qinghan's face turned red. The smell on Little Fox Immortal's body was too strange. It made his soul somewhat unable to control it. Especially his second head. He was completely under her control. It was as if he was about to explode. If this continued, he would sooner or later go crazy. Little Fox Immortal didn't think much of it. She gently caressed Yi Qinghan's soul. The physical body created by the soul body was no different from a real physical body. It had flesh and blood, but this physical body was much weaker than his golden body of utmost holiness. It couldn't withstand Little Fox Immortal's attacks at all. Yi Qinghan's entire body was covered in goosebumps. This was the first time in his life that he was being teased by a woman. He was still frightened. This woman would play him to death sooner or later. Little Fox Immortal slowly moved her body. She pressed one hand on his neck and kept asking. An unprecedented shame shrouded Yi Qinghan's heart. Little Fox Immortal's face was full of curiosity. It was as if she was seeing a man's second head for the first time. She stared curiously. So strange. It doesn't seem as ugly as the clan elder said. Little Fox Immortal was like a curious baby. She kept rubbing and pinching. She found it very interesting. Yi Qinghan's tears were about to come out. It was too painful. This was more terrible than poison. This demon woman was the world's most bewitching demon fox. Moreover, she was a celestial immortal. The key was that he could not move. Otherwise, her claws could easily pierce his soul. Little Fox Immortal, let go first. I will do whatever you say. I can't stand it anymore. Yi Qinghan growled. Chapter 2306. At this moment, Yi Qinghan, who was in the tent, did not feel good at all, nor did he feel excited. Under the threat of death, Little Fox Immortal's aura was particularly strange, which made him furious. Killing intent flashed in his eyes, but in order to not anger Little Fox Immortal, he had to endure it. However, Little White Fox Immortal completely treated Yi Qinghan as a test subject. She constantly looked him up and down, staring at him with her big eyes as if she could find some treasure. Ka ka ka. Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fist, his 5 fingers piercing into the ground. He looked at Little Fox Immortal coldly and said, "If you kill me today, will you be able to survive the pursuit of so many people?" Little Fox Immortal was surprised and innocently replied, "I didn't say I was going to kill you." "Then have you played enough?" Yi Qinghan coldly reprimanded. "No, I have decided to sign a new contract with you. A master-servant contract. I am the master and you are the slave," Little Fox Immortal said with a smile. Hiss hiss hiss. Yi Qinghan was almost angered to death. If he could turn things around today, he would definitely kill this Fox Immortal. No, sell her to others as a female slave. Yi Qinghan was ruthless. Even Fanine and Green Lotus Sword Immortal did not have a good ending after offending him, let alone a Little Fox Immortal who used him. As long as there was a chance, he would torture her until she doubted her life. Unfortunately, Little Fox Immortal did not give him the chance. The strong aphrodisiac smell and those hands were fatal, causing Yi Qinghan's immortal soul to twitch and almost go insane. A master-servant contract. With Yi Qinghan's current soul state, he could not be the master, but he could be the slave. Little Fox Immortal wanted to completely conquer Yi Qinghan, but the premise was that she had to make Yi Qinghan's soul and will collapse. She had to take advantage of him when he was at his weakest. Yi Qinghan's eyes were no longer clear and became red. His soul and will were quickly collapsing, almost on the verge of collapse. Relax, relax. From now on you're mine. I have the responsibility to release you. The ghostly voice had a corrosive effect, causing Yi Qinghan's soul and will to gradually sink into a state of nothingness. As long as he completely lost his resistance, he would truly become Little Fox Immortal's slave. Little Fox Fairy seemed to be proficient in this technology, but she looked very inexperienced. Her theoretical knowledge was very powerful, but her practical ability was not as good as her theoretical knowledge. Otherwise, Yi Qinghan would have collapsed long ago. Yi Qinghan's eyes lost focus and his will collapsed. What awaited him was the fate of being a slave for the rest of his life. Little Fox Immortal was waiting for the moment when he collapsed. Her jade-like hands were a little sore and she couldn't help but feel a little anxious. She licked the corner of her mouth as if she was struggling, but she still decided to take down Yi Qinghan. She slowly lowered her head and bit Yi Qinghan's second leader. Yi Qinghan was on the verge of collapse at this moment. That tongue was as attractive as a whirlpool. His entire soul was sucked into the whirlpool. No matter how he struggled, he could not break free from the power of the whirlpool. If he fell into it, it would be hell. If he broke free, it would be heaven. Yi Qinghan desperately held onto the last strand of his will in the depths of his heart. His mental strength exploded to the extreme as he waited for an opportunity. Little Fox Immortal seemed to be too confident in herself. The fingers that were locking onto Yi Qinghan's neck loosened. At this moment of imminent peril, he seized the last opportunity. His right hand reached out and grabbed her right hand. His left hand reached out and grabbed the wrist of her left hand. He fiercely flung Little Fox Immortal to the side. He leaned forward and sat on her neck. Bang! Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. His knees pressed down on Little Fox Immortal's hands, and he began to hit her left and right. Slap, slap, slap. Little Fox Immortal's face was slapped by Yi Qinghan more than 10 times. Her ears rang incessantly. You're courting death. I saw that you were pitiful, so I saved you. You actually repaid kindness with enmity and wanted to make me a slave. Today, I will make you regret being born into this world. Little Fox Immortal was caught off guard. She was directly slapped by Yi Qinghan. She could not shake off Yi Qinghan's suppression. Her mouth was wide open as she gasped for air. Tears flowed down her face. After all, it was too painful. Unfortunately, Yi Qinghan did not want to have tender feelings for the fairer sex at this moment. If he did not vent at this moment, he would soon be possessed by the devil. His eyes were glowing red, so he directly sent his second master into her little mouth. Yi Qinghan attacked dozens of times. Each time, he used all his strength and directly sent the essence into her throat. You're the one who's courting death. You can't blame anyone else. Yi Qinghan grabbed Little Fox Immortal's neck and swallowed her. Little Fox Immortal's face was red from suffocation. Her face was full of horror. Her delicate and pitiful appearance was very pitiful. Unfortunately, she could not even say a word. Since you like slaves so much, I will sell you to others and let them train you as a slave. I will let you enjoy life. Bang, bang, bang. Yi Qinghan directly sealed Little Fox Immortal's life gate and controlled her immortal soul. Then, he threw her to the ground and quickly put on his clothes. He was really angry. No, Master, please spare me this time. Little Fox Immortal knelt on the ground and cried out in fear. Yi Qinghan put on his clothes and coldly looked at Little Fox Immortal, who was kneeling on the ground. The corner of his mouth revealed a sneer and mocked. Do you think I will spare you? When you did such a thing, you should have thought of the consequences if you failed. I was joking with you. You have hit me and vented your anger. Please spare me. It hurts. Little Fox Immortal wiped her tears and begged for mercy. Sorry, the word forgive does not exist in my mind. If you offend me, there is only one fate, and that is misery. Yi Qinghan said coldly. Then, he sat cross-legged on the ground and adjusted his breath. At this moment, his soul and will were somewhat chaotic. If he did not adjust his breath now, it would be too late. At this moment, Little Fox Immortal knelt on the ground in fear and did not dare to move. She no longer had any immortal spiritual power. Her life gate and immortal soul were suppressed. Now, anyone could kill her. She could only beg Yi Qinghan to give her another chance. But now, Yi Qinghan was adjusting his breath. She did not even dare to speak for fear of angering Yi Qinghan again. After Yi Qinghan vented his anger, his soul finally relaxed. The feeling of escaping from death left him with lingering fear. Sure enough, in the world of cultivators, one could not casually trust people or things. Until dawn, Yi Qinghan finally stabilized his soul. However, after experiencing what had just happened, his soul had actually improved. After all, Little Fox Immortal had caused him great harm. That kind of explosive potential in a situation of certain death was extraordinary. Yi Qinghan swallowed a few more immortal herbs and stabilized his Undying Earth Immortal Realm. The next step was to reach the advanced Undying Earth Immortal Realm. At that time, even if the sect leader of Haolian Immortal Sect came personally, he might not be a match for him. He cultivated until dawn. Little Fox Immortal knelt for the whole night and did not dare to stand up. She looked at Yi Qinghan hesitantly. A ray of morning light rose in the east. Many people had already started to trade. Yi Qinghan had only refined about half of the immortal herbs. After all, the immortal herbs were not immortal medicines and were difficult to refine. It was already good enough that he could refine half of it. Hua! Yi Qinghan opened his eyes. His gaze was more aggressive. He had successfully stabilized his Undying Earth Immortal Realm and was only half a step away from the advanced Undying Earth Immortal Realm. He looked down at Little Fox Immortal, who was kneeling on the ground. The murderous intent in his eyes was no longer concealed. I heard that you are worth 1 million immortal coins. I think you are worth it. Yi Qinghan sneered. Bang bang bang. Heavenly Immortal, please spare me. I won't dare to do it again. Don't sell me off. Woo woo woo. Little Fox Immortal begged in panic. Hua! Yi Qinghan stood up and said indifferently, if you follow me, you will find that it is better to be someone else's slave. I gave you a chance but you didn't take it. You took the initiative to follow me. Don't make me use force. After speaking, Yi Qinghan walked out of the tent and kept it in his immortal ring. Little Fox Immortal was still kneeling there. She was so conspicuous. Chapter 2307. Just as Yi Qinghan was about to grab the Little Fox Immortal, two youths walked up from behind and were still having an intense discussion. Hee, if we can find that Little White Fox Immortal this time, we'll be rich. Not only will we be rewarded by the Haolian Immortal Sect, but will also be personally received by the Cloud Guang City Governor and the previous sect master of the Haolian Immortal Sect. I really don't understand. Even a Xian Immortal wants to buy a Fox Immortal? Is this Fox Immortal's beauty really that great? You don't understand. Once you reach the Xian Immortal level, it is as difficult as ascending to heaven. Since you are already immortal, you might as well enjoy life. Little Fox Immortal is a top-quality product. I heard that many big shots are loyal to her. As the two youths discussed, they quickly passed by Yi Qinghan's back and obediently disappeared into the crowd. Yi Qinghan was shocked. From these few words, he came to the conclusion that Haolian Immortal Sect and Yunguang City had teamed up for Little White Fox Immortal. This meant that they had also found clues. They would first find Little White Fox Immortal and then find the murderer who killed the 13 Immortal Heaven Immortals. I can't sell Little White Fox Immortal. If she is found out, wouldn't I be exposed? Yi Qinghan secretly whispered. His attitude suddenly changed. He hugged Little Fox Immortal and said, don't be sad. How can I bear to sell you? Okay, don't cry. Be good. I will take you to continue shopping. In terms of the speed of changing faces, Yi Qinghan was not bad. Little Fox Immortal was extremely scared and did not pay attention to what the two were talking about. She thought that Yi Qinghan was really joking. Only then did she wipe away her tears and looked at Yi Qinghan pitifully. Look at you crying like a pear blossom. Let's not talk about other things. Just look at your outstanding beauty and lovable appearance. How could I bear to sell you off? It would be such a pity. Yi Qinghan earnestly patted Little Fox Immortal's head and said. Little Fox Immortal was stunned by Yi Qinghan. She looked up at Yi Qinghan and saw that he did not seem to be joking. She suddenly felt wronged like a 3-year-old child. She lay in Yi Qinghan's arms and wailed. I really know that I was wrong. My face hurts, it is swollen, though. Little Fox Immortal's face was really swollen. Yi Qinghan used all his strength. Her face was still burning. Yi Qinghan raised a smile and looked down at Little Fox Immortal. At this time, where was her beauty? If he threw her out and said she was Little Fox Immortal, no one would believe him. Little Fox Immortal was Yi Qinghan was immortal. Yi Qinghan was immortal was. Immortal was Yi. Immortal Imimin. Little Fox Immortal was now afraid of Yi Qinghan. She did not dare to refute. She could only silently follow Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan took Little Fox Immortal and woke up the divine bird. The divine bird looked at Little Fox Immortal and asked in surprise, "Damn, where did you learn this disguise technique? You don't even have your original appearance." Little Fox Immortal's tears fell uncontrollably. She wiped her tears with her arm and walked alone with her head down. She did not even bother with the divine bird. The divine bird observed closely and found that the 5-finger mark was very clear. It knew that she had violated Yi Qinghan's bottom line. It did not say anything else. A man, a bird, and an immortal fox wandered around the market for a long time. It was peaceful here. There were no quarrels or forced sales. After all, everyone was living on the edge of a knife. No one dared to cause trouble. This group of people was very united. Even celestial immortals did not dare to bully people here. In the remaining 4 days, Yi Qinghan took Little Fox Immortal to buy more than 1,000,000 celestial coins worth of resources. There were all kinds of immortal treasures, refining materials and so on. The quality was very good. Yi Qinghan prepared a set of materials for forging celestial immortals and a set of materials for top-grade immortal clothes. Without a physical body, the equipment must pass. No matter how many celestial coins one had, it was to strengthen oneself. There was no use in guarding this money. If one died, it would only be a wedding dress for others. Yi Qinghan did not feel the heartache. He spent money like water. With enough capital, he would get back 10 times or even 1,000 times the money. In a total of 5 days, Yi Qinghan used 3 million celestial coins to exchange for a large amount of treasures and immortal materials. He also bought a higher-level immortal winged divine horse. This kind of horse could not only fly, it had good endurance and speed. It could also cross mountains on land. The swelling on Little Fox Immortal's face had not subsided and her strength had not recovered. These few days she was more well-behaved. She listened to Yi Qinghan's words and did not dare to go against him. The resources are almost all bought. Let's go to Yunguang City and see if there are any large-scale teleportation arrays or buy a large-scale Immortal Kingdom map. Yi Qinghan leaped onto the immortal horse and reached out to pull Little Fox Immortal onto the horse's back. Whoosh! Hiss hiss hiss! The immortal horse neighed and soared into the sky. In the blink of an eye, it rushed into the clouds and went straight into Yunguang City. Immortal Hao Lian and the city lord of Yunguang City did not expect Yi Qinghan to run into the city. They sent a large number of experts to run outside the city and arranged some people at the city gate. However, these people did not contribute much. They could be bribed with a little money. The immortal horse's speed was about the same as Little Fox Immortal, but its endurance was hundreds of times better. After running for half a month, Yunguang City came into sight. It was only half a month. To an immortal, it was as simple as eating a meal. Boom! The immortal horse landed outside the city gate. There were many people coming and going on the road. No one paid attention to Yi Qinghan and Little Fox Immortal. However, this immortal horse was of immortal level and was worth more than 100,000 celestial coins. It was not something that ordinary people could own. A few guards' eyes lit up and took the initiative to welcome them. I wonder which clan's young master is this young master from? The guards took the initiative to welcome Yi Qinghan and helped him hold the reins of the horse. They said flatteringly. Yi Qinghan had an elegant bearing. A noble temperament came from his bones. If he said that he was a prince of the celestial nation, the son of a king, no one would dare to doubt him. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan brought Little Fox Immortal down from the immortal horse. He secretly undid her seal and wiped away the swelling on her face. He waved his hand and took out a few thousand celestial coins and threw it to the 4 guards. He said indifferently, "Who will bring me into the city? Be my guide." The 4 guards' eyes widened. This was more than just generous. He gave out a few thousand celestial coins to whoever offered. Moreover, he gave out 4 portions. A total of 10,000 celestial coins. At this moment, a leader rushed over. He glared at the 4 of them angrily and reprimanded, "What are the 4 of you doing? Is this young master someone you can communicate with? Can't you see that he is of noble status?" The guard captain looked at Yi Qinghan with a flattering expression and said, "Young master, this lowly one is willing to serve you like a dog or horse. I am the most familiar with the city." Yi Qinghan could not be bothered to say more. He nodded and said, "That's good. Lead the way. You will be rewarded." "My name is Xia Fan. Young master, please," the captain said happily. Yi Qinghan snorted and walked into the city. He said indifferently, "It is quite annoying." Chapter 2308. This was Yi Qinghan's first time entering the city of the undying immortal realm. Compared to Eternal World, this city was like a holy land. It was majestic and filled with towering immortal runes. Little Fox Immortal had once disguised herself as a human and entered the city. However, she was too careful to observe the city. This time, she followed Yi Qinghan. Although she was still scared witless, she was in a much better state than before. "Little Xia, my map of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom was accidentally destroyed. Bring me to buy a complete map of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom first," Yi Qinghan said coolly. Xia Fanren led the horse and said flatteringly, "Young master, please follow me. This area is my territory. I can give you a discount." Yi Qinghan walked along the main street. This street was filled with flowers and was much more prosperous than the Holy Lands. Experts were as common as clouds and they kept a low profile in the city. However, most of them were undying earth immortals and undying spirit immortals. The number of heavenly immortals was not too high. Along the way, Yi Qinghan used a very tactful method to inquire about some information. He found out that the Haolian immortal sect had asked profound immortal Yun Guang for help and was wantonly searching for him and Little White Fox Immortal. Although he was expressionless, he was becoming more cautious. He had offended more and more people and their forces were not small. If a profound immortal were to capture him, he would not be able to escape. The Haolian immortal sect has been arrogant and despotic in Yunguang City for hundreds of thousands of years. No one has dared to offend them. Now, more than 10 of their undying heavenly immortals have been wiped out. They are now frantically searching for them. If anyone were to bump into them, they would be finished. Also, the killer cannot be underestimated. None of the 13 heavenly immortals survived. He is a ruthless person, Xia Fanren reminded with a flattering smile. Yi Qinghan snorted and said coolly, "This young master doesn't care about the small Haolian immortal sect. As for the killer, as long as I don't offend him, he will not target me. I am a student of the Ancient Emperor Academy. Who would dare to not give me face?" "What? You are a top student of the Ancient Emperor Academy? No wonder you have such an imposing appearance and extraordinary temperament. I heard that the students who graduated from the Ancient Emperor Academy are all low-level immortal Xian immortals at the very least. Your future is limitless." Xia Fanren flattered. Yi Qinghan pretended to be calm as he replied, "Oh? You seem to know a lot about the Ancient Emperor Academy." That's right. Normally, I'm just a gatekeeper. It's very boring. I know a little bit about everything. People say that the Yunguang city is full of information." Xia Fan said flatteringly. There were not many guards in the city who could do this. Yi Qinghan did not know if he should despise him or admire him. At the very least, someone like him who was willing to put down his pride, earn money, and live as a person was worthy of admiration to his family. To think that a small city like this would have such a talent. "Tell me, how much do you know about the Ancient Emperor Academy? Do you know where its coordinates are?" Yi Qinghan looked at Xia Fanren with a teasing expression. It seemed like a test, but in reality, It was just to find out the location of the Ancient Emperor Academy. The Ancient Emperor Academy is located in the eastern region of the Immortal Empire. Those who can enter are all geniuses that are 1 in 10,000. I heard that those who want to enter the Ancient Emperor Academy can't rely on their status. If they don't have talent, even the princes can forget about entering, let alone those from wealthy families. Everyone says that the Ancient Emperor Academy is a humble academy, and that's not a lie. Half of the students in the academy are from humble families. Therefore, the Ancient Emperor Academy has a good reputation in the entire undying immortal world. The rules of the Ancient Emperor Academy state that those who graduate from the academy are not allowed to commit crimes. Xia Fanren was very talkative. He was boasting and spitting saliva. To be able to enter the Ancient Emperor Academy, one has to go through a strict examination. In a large city, it's already not bad if one person can enter the academy in a year. In our Yunguang city, there are only 2 people who have entered in so many years, and they haven't even graduated yet. Xia Fanren seemed to be gloating. His expression was strange. Yi Qinghan knew the exact location of the Ancient Emperor Academy and nodded. He just needed to buy a map and he could leave. After all, Yunguang City was a dangerous place. He couldn't stay for long. He could be exposed at any time. Half a day later, Xia Fanren brought Yi Qinghan into a large ancient treasure shop. There was everything here: immortal treasures, materials, immortal pills, defensive immortal robes, soul defensive immortal treasures, weapons, and even immortal techniques. They ranged from the Xian immortal level to the spirit immortal level. Yi Qinghan walked around and bought a complete map of the Immortal Empire. He then entered the section with soul defensive immortal treasures. He was in soul form, so it was necessary to have a soul defensive immortal treasure. However, after a few rounds, he found that the prices of these immortal treasures were ridiculously high. An immortal earth immortal level defensive immortal treasure cost 500,000, and an immortal heaven immortal level defensive immortal treasure cost more than 1,500,000. Yi Qinghan looked at the celestial coins in his immortal ring. He had at most 1 million celestial coins left. If he wanted to exchange for a soul defensive immortal treasure, he would need to add on 3 heaven immortal level immortal rings. Yi Qinghan thought silently. Finally, he looked at Xia Fanren. He felt that he could make use of this person. If I give this immortal ring to the ancient treasure shop, it will expose my location. However, if I speed up and leave, the ancient treasure shop might not be able to catch up to me even if they inform the authorities. Yi Qinghan took out 30,000 celestial coins and threw it to Xia Fanren. I'm in a hurry to leave later. Help me open a path, especially when we reach the city gate. Xia Fanren was so excited that he was trembling. 30,000 celestial coins was enough for a year's salary. The job of a gatekeeper wasn't dangerous, so the salary wouldn't be high. Young master, don't worry. This area is my territory. Xia Fanren promised. Yi Qinghan raised his brows and asked, Your territory? Then how many heaven immortal level immortal rings do I have? Can you help me? However, you can't make it public. Xia Fanren said confidently, This ancient treasure shop allows you to exchange items. Moreover, I know some brothers. Leave this matter to me. I will definitely keep it a secret. Yi Qinghan smiled and pointed to a soul defensive immortal treasure that he was interested in. He said, I have my eyes on this immortal treasure. However, I lack 500,000 celestial coins. These are 3 heaven immortal level immortal items. The market price is around 600,000 celestial coins. Adding the 1 million celestial coins that I have, that's 1,600,000 celestial coins. You can split the remaining 100,000 celestial coins with your brothers. Xia Fanren patted his chest excitedly and said confidently, Leave this matter to me. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. With that, Xia Fanren quickly dashed out. Little Fox Immortal reminded him weakly, Aren't you afraid of being trapped in Yunguang City? The corners of Yi Qinghan's lips curled into a smile as he spoke confidently, This Xia Fan only cares about profit. For the time being, he won't suspect anything about my identity. As long as I have enough money, he will keep my secret. Chapter 2309. Yi Qinghan glanced at the immortal art section. Xian immortal arts cost at least 30 million celestial coins. Don't even think about it. Even sky immortal arts cost about 2 million celestial coins. Little Fox Immortal curled her lips. 30 million celestial coins was enough for her to work hard for half her life. Most importantly, this was the lowest grade. If it was a high-grade Xian immortal secret art, it would cost at least 50 million celestial coins. This was the savings of a medium-sized clan or sect for tens of thousands of years. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. Yi Qinghan shook his head. There were good and bad Xian immortal secret arts. If Sikong Tanlang's secret art was improved, it would be considered a high-grade Xian immortal art. If it wasn't improved, it would be the lowest grade. He naturally wanted a better Xian immortal art. Unfortunately, those arts were priceless. Yi Qinghan now knew the importance of celestial coins. With money, one could travel the world. Without money, one couldn't move an inch. At this moment, Xia Fanren ran over with a young man with pointy ears and monkey-like cheeks. This person looked like a profiteer who would do anything for money. Yi Qinghan smiled. He knew that this matter was close. This young man would be confused by 100,000 celestial coins. He wouldn't be able to figure out his true identity in a short time. Aya, my eyesight is really good. You can see through my ancient treasure store's #1 soul defense immortal treasure. This is the famous immortal soul lock in the undying immortal world. It means that it's like a lock on the soul. If the enemy wants to attack your soul, they will have to break the immortal soul lock first. This immortal soul lock can withstand a single attack from a Xian immortal. Of course, it will break after one attack. It can buy you some time and maybe it can save your life. As for Sky Immortal experts, ordinary Sky Immortal experts won't be able to break the defense of the immortal soul lock. It's worth 5 million celestial coins. The young man with pointy ears and monkey-like cheeks explained to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan smiled. He naturally wanted this immortal soul lock because of its advantages. Yi Qinghan calmly said, I want this immortal soul lock, and I won't say much about the price. It's just that I've bought a lot of things along the way, and I don't have much money on me. I'm only short of 500,000. I have 3 heavenly immortal grade immortal rings, and I'm sure Mr. Xia has already told you about them. My only request is that you don't sell the immortal rings for now because I'm on a secret mission and don't want to expose my identity. Otherwise, the Ancient Emperor Academy will deduct my credits. No problem, absolutely no problem. Xia Fanren and the young man hurriedly nodded and bowed. This was a profit of 100,000 plus commission, which was enough for them to earn for a long time. Then let's get the goods. I'm in a hurry to carry out the mission given to me by the Academy, Yi Qinghan said with a straight face. The two of them didn't doubt Yi Qinghan's identity at all. He was a top student of the Ancient Emperor Academy. They didn't dare to offend a top student of the Ancient Emperor Academy. Even if the Yun Guang City Lord came personally, they would still treat him as someone of the same generation. Young master, please follow me. I'll bring you to a private room, the wretched young man said with a flattering smile. Yi Qinghan shook his head. Birds of a feather flock together. The people that Xia Fanren interacted with were very similar to him. They were practically a carbon copy of the divine bird human. The 4 of them entered a luxurious private room. Yi Qinghan took out 3 immortal rings and handed them over to Xia Fanren. The 1 million immortal coins were also handed over. Then Yi Qinghan refined the immortal soul lock. His physical body formed by his soul spirit seemed to be plated with a layer of gold. However, it didn't affect his movement. Instead, it increased his soul spirit's combat power. Not bad. It's indeed a high-grade defensive immortal weapon. This thing is too complicated and isn't easy to refine. Otherwise, I would have made some and sold it as well. It should be easy to earn tens of millions of immortal coins. Yi Qinghan sighed to himself. Is young master satisfied? Xia Fanren asked excitedly. Yi Qinghan nodded and said to him, "Lead me out of the city. When I return, I'll give you something good." Xia Fanren had earned more than 60,000 immortal coins this time. How could he not treat Yi Qinghan like a lord? He bowed and said, "Young master, it's my honor to be able to meet such a talented student of the ancient Emperor Academy." Yi Qinghan smiled faintly and brought Little Fox Immortal out of the ancient treasure shop. He pulled her onto the horse and said, "Commander Xia, lead the way." "All right, please sit tight." Xia Fanren pulled the reins and led the way. They galloped wildly. They came slowly and left quickly. After 2 hours, they arrived at the city gate. The 4 guards outside the city gate looked at Xia Fanren with envy and jealousy. Looking at his ecstatic and servile expression, the 4 of them could guess that he had gained a lot of benefits this time. "Many thanks, Commander Xia. This seat will leave first. Let's meet again if fate wills it." Pa! Whoosh! Yi Qinghan lifted the reins and the immortal horse soared into the sky. It soared into the clouds and disappeared in a flash. "Ha, you tricked them. You actually sold the 3 immortal rings." Little Fox Immortal said happily as she leaned into Yi Qinghan's embrace. Yi Qinghan smiled confidently. He could only sell the remaining 9 immortal rings after he left Vast Cloud City. Otherwise, even a fool would be able to guess his identity. A Vast Cloud City's ancient treasure shop. Actually, when Yi Qinghan took out the 3 immortal rings, the wretched youth with pointy ears and monkey-like cheeks was already suspicious. The Haolian Immortal Sect had provided a total of 3 clues: immortal runes, immortal rings, and Little Fox Immortal. This person is a student of the ancient Emperor Academy. It is normal for him to be proficient in immortal runes. These 3 immortal rings are very old and should have been worn by people all year round. It is very likely that they are the immortal rings worn by the 12 elders of the Haolian Immortal Sect. As for Little Fox Immortal, although her aura was suppressed, she still gave people the urge to ravage her. She might really be Little Fox Immortal. According to this deduction, this guy might be the murderer. However, he is a student of the ancient Emperor Academy. Even if the Haolian Immortal Sect knows that he is the murderer, would they dare to take revenge on the students of the ancient Emperor Academy? Although the wretched youth was a profiteer, the key was that his brain was much scarier than Xia Fanren's. All kinds of deductions and observations were perfect. That night, Xia Fanren found the youth's house. "Brother Su Mang, you have earned a lot this time. How are you going to thank me?" Xia Fanren said excitedly. Su Mang, the youth's name. At this moment, he had a serious and hesitant expression. He sat on the bed and said worriedly, "I still have to thank you. I thought about it carefully. The youth you brought is probably the one who killed the Haolian Immortal Sect. I'm afraid it's not easy to sell these 3 immortal rings." "What? He is a student of the ancient Emperor Academy," Xia Fanren said in shock. Su Mang raised a mocking smile and said with a bitter smile, "It is because he is a student of the ancient Emperor Academy that I suspect he is the murderer. Think about it. 3 immortal rings, that little girl, and his identity. It might be a little exaggerated for him to kill 12 heavenly immortals. However, sneak attacks and assassinations are definitely possible for the students of the ancient Emperor Academy." Chapter 23:10. In the sky, an immortal horse galloped away. Although its wings were small, it was faster than the golden thunder dragon rock. Yi Qinghan wanted to go to the East Divine region. However, the journey was dangerous and long. It would not be easy. On the horse, Yi Qinghan opened the map and realized that there were 6 regions in the Dragon Emperor Immortal Empire. East Divine Region, West Divine Region, South Divine Region, North Divine Region, Center Divine Region, and Ancestral Dragon Continent. We are now in the West Divine Region. We have to cross the entire empire to reach the East Divine Region. We have to pass through the Ancestral Dragon Continent and Center Divine Region. It is not easy. Yi Qinghan frowned and felt helpless. The Ancestral Dragon Continent and Center Divine Region were the most difficult to travel. Due to the strict racial hierarchy, humans were at a disadvantage. The dragon bloodline was the noblest. There were hundreds of thousands of cities in the West Divine region. Each city would take about 3 years. Even if they went in a straight line, they would have to pass through 2,000 cities. From the West Divine region to the Center Divine region, it would take about 3,000 to 5,000 years. With the immortal horse's speed, it would take at least 1,000 years. Yi Qinghan rubbed his nose and asked Little Fox Immortal, "Do you have a faster speed to reach the East Divine region?" Little Fox Immortal was confused. She shook her head and said, "I have never left the West Divine region in my life." "So you mean you are useless?" Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and asked. Plop. Little Fox Immortal was scared out of her wits. She looked at Yi Qinghan in horror and begged, "Master, don't sell me. Give me a reason not to sell." Yi Qinghan asked calmly. Little Fox Immortal's eyelids twitched. She felt that Yi Qinghan was serious this time. She racked her brains, hoping to find a use for her. "I can be your slave and serve you." Little Fox Immortal thought for a long time and realized that this was the only thing that would be useful to Yi Qinghan. Otherwise, she would not be able to defeat him. If they really fought, he would have to protect her. Yi Qinghan looked at Little Fox Immortal's serious face and could not help but laugh at himself. He quickened his pace. While Yi Qinghan was escaping, Sikong Tanlang was constantly thinking about how to catch Yi Qinghan. After all, he needed Yi Qinghan to fuse the 4 secret techniques. He wanted to catch Yi Qinghan more than the people of the Endless Peak Mountain. Unfortunately, Sikong Tanlang was incapable of controlling his own world. At present, Eternal World had already given birth to a considerable number of eternal spirit immortals. Given Lin Wutian's combat power alone, Sikong Tanlang could not guarantee that he would be able to defeat Lin Wutian. Not to mention, there was also Sage Chess, Fan Yin, Heavenspan, and GD. The elites of the Kuang sect were also springing up like bamboo shoots after a spring rain. They were forced to unleash their potential under the pressure. They all wanted to break through this layer of shackles and help Yi Qinghan. Therefore, another batch of great saints was born. The older generation of the Kuang sect's elites were close to the immortal spirit realm. The great world was completely out of control. Without the help of outsiders, Sikong Tanlang had completely lost his world. In this helpless situation, he could only beg Xian Immortal Wuchuan, hoping to join forces with the Endless Peak Mountain to capture the people of the Kuang sect so that Yi Qinghan could return by himself. However, Xian Immortal Wuchuan was not willing to waste a lot of energy and time to go to Eternal World. Moreover, he had offended Xian Immortal Wuchuan. Xian Immortal Wuchuan was not willing to open his world for him anymore. Even if Yang Zhixian, a golden immortal, personally went to invite him, he would not be moved. Eternal World's Kuang sect was the safest place. Unfortunately, Yi Qinghan did not know that. 30 years later, Yi Qinghan arrived at the eastern part of the Western God Province from Yunguang City. He was very close to the border of the Center God Province. Pat pat. Yi Qinghan patted the immortal horse's head and said, "Find a slightly bigger city and land. I want to expose my identity before entering the Center God Province." Little Fox Immortal asked in surprise, "Why? Aren't you afraid that the people of Yunguang City will hunt you down?" Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and said confidently, "The Halian Immortal Sect does not have the ability to hunt me down here. I want to attract the people of the Endless Peak Mountain." "What? Are you crazy? The Endless Peak Mountain is one of the top 10 forces in the immortal world. They are the most difficult to deal with. Why do you want to attract them?" Little Fox Immortal asked in horror. "Of course, to attract them to hunt me down," Yi Qinghan said indifferently. The little Hu Immortal's body trembled as she said in fear, "Master, please sell me off. It's too late to ask me to sell you now. I have a shortcoming. Even if I die, I want to drag someone down with me. I don't have many days left to enjoy. I won't let go of a Little Fox Immortal in my last moments." Yi Qinghan replied coldly. Boom. The immortal horse landed outside a city. After resupplying, it arrogantly went to the biggest intelligence system in the city. "I want to sell a piece of information. A big piece of information. If your organization is interested, you can find someone to talk to me." Yi Qinghan stood in the hall and said in a deep voice. An old man in a brocade robe looked at Yi Qinghan in surprise. He was just a little earth immortal and a soul body. What big information could he have? He said, I am the person in charge of the intelligence system branch. What information do you have to sell? The specific location of the murderer who killed more than 30 immortal earth immortals of the Endless Peak Mountain. The specific location of the murderer who killed 13 immortal heaven immortal elders of the Haoyan immortal sect in Yunguang City. Yi Qinghan said confidently. The old man was shocked. It would be a joke if the people in charge of intelligence did not know about these two things. Especially the matter of the Endless Peak Mountain. It even alarmed a big shot like the immortal Golden Immortal. The reward was very high. Just the location of Yi Qinghan was worth hundreds of thousands of celestial coins. If they caught him alive, they would make a fortune. Dao friend, come with me. The old man quickly led Yi Qinghan into a private room. After closing the door, he asked in a deep voice, Dao friend, these two pieces of information are very valuable. Can you confirm the specific location of these two murderers? No, the murderer of these two cases is the same person. Moreover, I know his location now. How many celestial coins can you pay? Yi Qinghan asked in a deep voice. The old man was shocked again. He asked in a speechless voice, one person? If it is really one person, then the price is about 300,000 celestial coins. Pay up. That person is far away on the horizon but close in front of us. Yi Qinghan looked up and said in a deep voice. The old man frowned. This was the first time he saw a criminal who wanted to take his bounty. This fellow was really not afraid of death. After offending the Endless Peak Mountain and a Xian immortal sect, he actually dared to take the initiative to sell his location to the intelligence system. How do you prove it? The old man asked in surprise. Yi Qinghan smiled confidently and said, what is there to prove? Everyone knows that the person who killed the 30 earth immortals of the Endless Peak Mountain back then was an immortal spirit immortal from Sikong Tanlong's eternal world. The secret techniques he cultivated were the immortal sect teleportation technique, the immortal sect golden bell shield, the sacred finger of annihilation and the space-piercing star-plucking hand. What? Yi Qinghan formed a seal with both hands. The sacred finger of annihilation and the space-piercing star-plucking hand erupted. The two immortal techniques could be completely merged. The old man looked at Yi Qinghan in shock. If he could not be sure that Yi Qinghan was telling the truth, then he was done for. What was the point of collecting intelligence? These are 9 immortal rings. They all belonged to the heavenly immortal elders of the Haoyan immortal sect. After I killed them, I only had time to take 12 immortal rings. I sold 3 of them in Yunguang City. The remaining 9 are all here. Can you prove it now? Yi Qinghan asked in return. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.